lands a good running body kick again.
Warriors' voice will be heard.
Let's try that again, man. 2025, and I'm starting off wrong already, man. What the hell is going on? What's good, baby? It's the Warriors Voice. We are back again, you know, every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern. And I have my gracious co-host with me. And, you know, I have a lineup of ultimate studs here. Starting off right beside me, I got my man Mallory Woods in the building. Mallory is extensive knowledge of all MMA and combat sports in general. And his amazing voice. I'm glad to have him on. He's joined us recently, so glad to have him back. Also got my boy MMA Pickers below me. You already know what it is. My guy, one of the best pickers in the fucking planet. We haven't been able to pick lately, but we're going to get back to it real soon. We're talking about some upcoming fights. And last but not least, my man, Mac Tyson, the karate encyclopedia, but is not limited to that. He knows a lot about combat sports all around the world. And a lot of people I don't know about teaches me a lot of shit every week. So that is my host, and I'm King Apollo, the motherfucker who like to talk too much, and that's why I moderate shit. So let's get it, baby. This is the Warriors Voice. This is episode 18, baby. We're creeping up on 20 piece, and we got a good one today, man. First episode of the new year. How's everybody feeling today, man? How's the new year? It's the first episode, man. How we doing?
I'm still a little bit hungover. I don't know about you guys.
Yo, I got so messed up on Christmas that I did not drink on New Year's.
Oh,
yeah. I got so fucked up on Christmas. I was like, hey, it was I blame my aunt's husband because he just kept. I bought some mezcal tequila. I love mezcal. If anybody knows me, I'm a heavy mezcal drinker. I bought this nice art. Oh man, whatever.
He's still feeling it.
It's yeah. Basically, so I bought this nice bottle of it. It's called Criente. And he just kept pouring shots, and I kept thinking they were single shots. And the next morning, I realized he was handing me double shots the whole time.
Ooh.
So yeah, I was so fucked up. I didn't drink on New Year's, so I just chill. I forgot we played some video games on New Year's. Me and my girl just hung out and did some chill shit, man. What about y'all?
I'll jump in before Mac because mine's a little bit sad. I had a nice Christmas, and the gift that I didn't want was a kidney stone. So if you had going to the ER Christmas night with a kidney stone, which rates as my top 2 pain list, I definitely checked that box in 2024. Do not want again. 0 out of 5 stars. Do not recommend.
Oof, yeah, man. That is not fun. My boss and my pops used to get kidney stones, so I know they used to be in excruciating pain. So I'm glad you got through that, brother. Mac, how you doing? How was your New Year's? What did you get into, my boy?
No, I just spent it with family and making my way through the rest of that coquito since I only really drink on the holidays or socially.
Yeah. Well, I did have coquito cheesecake on New Year's. I can say that. So I did kind of.
Did MMA Pickers pick up a slice, though?
No, he didn't hit me up. I told him, hit me up. He literally had to drive. He literally had to drive right past me. I would have met him on the highway. I could have threw it into the window. I was almost a D1 baseball player. You know what I'm saying? This is why I wear baseball caps all the time. I would have threw it right in the window. You would have been good. Straight on your way back to Baltimore. You never would have had to stop.
Just do a
Get on the side of the highway in the rain.
But listen, man, we got a crazy show today. Later today on the show, we have a legend, one of my fellow Kings County guys, Brooklyn guy, Ross Levine coming on.
Future Combat Hall of Famer.
Exactly. Definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. And if he's not, I got a problem with it. Also, before we get into all of that and our MMA news and stuff, you know, we got to pay tribute to the people who make sure this show happens, these shows. Hey, look, I'm manifesting more shows for us, guys. Y'all hear it? More shows, more money. All right, but shout out Karate Combat. If you don't have the app already, please download the Karate Combat app. It is a lot of big things coming in 2025. I wish I could talk about right now, but I can't. But listen, download the app. You get free 88 tokens. Those 88 tokens are your token into making decisions with the Karate Combat League and also voting on your fighters and only winning. You can't lose. So you wager it, but you can't lose. So it's not really like wagering, all right? So it's one of the ultimate ways to get involved, play along with it. Support your favorite fighters because they get 10% of the prize pool. So download the Karate Combat app. And yeah, shout out Karate Combat. They got a new card coming up January 24th in Miami. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Shout out my boy Python in the audience. He got that moved up out in Miami on the last card. But let's jump into it today. Yo, so I know I sent y'all some notes on some stuff, and one of them we are going to talk about. We definitely have to talk about the Islam Makhachev versus the Arman Tsarukyan fight coming up. Definitely something we got to speak on. But I did swap some stuff out because it was some stuff that kind of happened a little bit, but y'all stay in touch with stuff, so we'll get through that. Let's start with the Islam Makhachev fight. This one's huge coming up. Back from the everybody in here waiting on that fix. MMA pickers, I want to swing to you first. How do you feel about this fight? Honestly, I heard mixed reviews from different fighters, and I want to hear your take because, to be honest, I've heard a lot of people saying Arman can get it done, and I just don't think it. I don't know, man. I think Islam, just the way he's been running through stuff, I think he's just gonna get it done. And I want to hear your take on this.
I mean, I 100% agree. I don't think I have anything groundbreaking to add here. I do think the general consensus is that Islam's going to get it done, as he usually does. Obviously, Arman has a lot better wrestling than any of his past opponents. We saw even in the first fight during his UFC debut, he was able to keep the fight on the feet most of the time. But that being said, we've seen Islam go through some wars on the feet. We've seen him go tit for tat with Dustin Poirier for 5 rounds. We've seen him score big knockdowns on fighters like Charles Oliveira. And if he does get into that top control position, we know what he can do from there as well. So I think the clear advantage should be to Islam. I think Islam is coming in the physically stronger fighter, the larger fighter, obviously the more experienced fighter. And he's the champ for a reason. So I'm going to just say I strongly assume Islam's going to get this done and in impressive fashion.
Yeah. And I think we talked about it a while back when Islam and Arman, was it Islam Arman? Shemaev Arman. I think it was Islam. And they were all both on that reality show or whatever. And yeah.
That was Shemaev.
Yeah. And they grappled and he cooked them. Like he got him quick. You know what I mean? So it's like if he gets some grips on them, I'm telling you, you don't want them Dagestanians to get the grip on you, man. Them guys from over there grip you up. It's pretty much lights out. So I definitely agree. Still want to see the fight though. I love Arman. Arman's a great fighter. Nothing against him. It's just these guys are very dominant. They've been doing a really good job. Every time we try to doubt them and think they're not going to do it, they still get it done. So
yeah, I think a lot of people always put too much focus on Islam's grappling because he's really good at it, and I think people make the comparison to Khabib so much because they have similar fighting styles. But I would argue that Khabib was the much better grappler, even though Islam's phenomenal. But where Islam is better than Khabib is he's
100%, 100%, and that's why they call him Khabib 2.0 because he's Khabib with
honestly,
hands.
When it comes to that like combat sambo style, I'd say if you need a flagship example of what combat sambo looks like, I would point to Islam more than Fedor or Khabib.
100%. Mal, what's your take on this, man? How you feeling about this fight?
Well, I mean, the one bad thing that you have that inevitably everybody runs into, Anderson Silva ran into it, John Jones is running into it, is that when you have a champion that's dominant, you start to have those that will never leave his camp. And then the hate grows for those that just want to see you win because they want to see somebody new. They just want to see you get knocked off and everything. Islam is on his way into going into that category. But I agree completely with you. Stay off the ground. Stay off the ground with, Arman has to stay off the ground completely to have a chance in this. However, one thing that you have to give Arman is that the last time he fought, he won 2 matches. And you guys probably saying, what? I mean, he knocked the fan out before he came to the ring as he was walking on there. So
I was there.
The guy won 2 fights in one night. So one on the fan side doing a little fan service, and then one in with very tough Charles Oliveira. I think if he is really good with the thing is that everybody says this when the striker versus grappler. Everybody's like, man, he's just got to stand on his feet. And inevitably, one time comes where you get a scramble, a slip, pressing up against the cage, and you get that moment. What can he get up? If he survives that and he's able to get up then you've got a good fight. You've got something that's going on, and it's going to be competitive. However, the chance of him surviving that gorilla-like grip of Islam is going to be tough. So, striker versus grappler all over again.
Yeah. And the Oliveira fight, he did win that, but he was not winning that fight up until that point, to be honest with you. I was not really, I was upset with that outcome of that fight, but man, I don't know, dude. It's a tough one. It is one of those spots where I feel like Armand still could get the job done. It's still that gray area where it's like, he still has a great chance. Like he does. I don't say he doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't have a chance at all in hell, but I feel like it's just heavily weighing on Islam's side. So we'll see. Coming up soon, we'll get our UFC MMA fix. We'll be getting all of that. Also wanted to talk about Aljamain made some 2025 predictions. I kind of want to go over these predictions real quick and hear you guys' take on these. Some of these I agree with. Some of these I'm like, maybe not. So first starting off, he was predicting a lot of UFC fighters champions at the end of the year. He said flyweight division, he thinks Manel Cape is a strong contender, highlighting his well-rounded skills, potential challenge to the current champion Alexander Pantoja. Also, he said Arman having the upset against Islam, which I spoke of, like a few fighters having the contrary belief of what we think. In the light heavyweight division, also think Magomed Ankalaev is viewed as a serious contender against Alex Perez's title. That one, I don't know too much about, except for on the wrestling side of things. I do agree there. Ty Aspinall is expected to be the undisputed champion, especially if John Jones retired to warm-up fight. I agree with that one as well. And then I feel like it was one more, but basically saying Manel Cape, strong contender for a champ. Arman could be Islam, and Tom will be the champ after John leaves, and Magomed could be Alex. So quite a few statements that he made there. Some I feel like outlandish. I'll let you guys kind of choose which ones you want to pick at here. I'll start with Pickers. Pickers, which one stands out the most to you?
There's a lot of interesting ones in there. I'm going to harp on the first one about Manel Kape being a challenger to Alexander Pantoja. I just don't see it. Obviously, we saw in his last fight against Silva, his striking looked absolutely phenomenal. Looked like a 125-pound contender, Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
But we've seen too many times he has a big hole in the grappling department.
Mm-hmm.
And Pantoja's just too good everywhere, and it's kind of like Pantoja's last fight. He was going against a dynamic striker, arguably one of the best MMA strikers on the planet at that weight class. And Pantoja's really, really good at two things. He's incredibly well-rounded, he has skills everywhere, and he's an incredibly good game planner. He's like freaking Batman. So, with that clear of a path for him, I just don't see how he doesn't get it done.
I think the one that to beat Pantoja is unfortunately not even in the UFC right now. I think Kyoji Horiguchi could be the one to beat Pantoja.
Well,
Manel in the division, Manel is probably the most formidable opponent at this moment.
Yeah, and he's also very strong. Like skill wise, grappling it might not be there, but he might be able to. I think he might be able to muscle out of some things, but being able to do that for 5 rounds, makes it difficult.
I don't know, man. They tried to import people in to beat Pantoja already. Yeah. We see how that worked out. So I mean, I hear it, man, and obviously they're gonna have to find more people or build talent within the organization to fight this man because, bro, nobody could beat him right now. He's like Volkanovski right now. Yeah. That just run that Volk had for that 4 years where he was just going in, he just kept winning and kept winning. And that's Pantoja just figuring out how to win every time. But I agree with both of you guys. Manel, they're going to probably have to find somebody to bring in. Manel's the more formidable. Huh?
Cejudo, if he can make the weight.
Yeah, I mean, you talking about Henry Cejudo?
Yeah. He's been training.
I mean, dude, listen. Man,
yeah, he got destroyed by Marab.
He need to train with Marab. That's who he need to train with.
Everybody got destroyed by Marab. He didn't get destroyed by Marab.
He need to train with Marab, bro. But no, I mean, dang, bro. I'm not, listen, I love Henry Cejudo, but just knowing his pedigree, and after what Marab did with him, knowing Marab's pedigree, it's just like I don't think it's there for Henry no more. Like I think Henry's amazing, Hall of Famer, great in multiple sports. He should be a Hall of Famer in wrestling, as far as the Olympics and all that goes, and as far as the UFC goes, he should definitely be a Hall of Famer in both. But the way Marab picked him up and wrestled that wrestler, that the championship, multiple championship wrestler, world wrestler, and took him over to Zuckerberg and slammed him in front of him like he never wrestled a day in his life, like he was a kickboxer coming into the UFC. I just don't know if it's there for Henry no more, bro. I don't know. Now Pantoja, I wouldn't say has the tank that Marab has. I would say it's similar. I think Marab has a little more on the back end than Pantoja has. Pantoja looks a little more sluggish towards the end of his fights. Marab has a lot more energy towards the end of his fights. I feel like, I don't know, dude. It would be interesting though. I would love to see it.
Right. But
I
also,
just don't know.
To
Go
bring
ahead.
up a point about that, so Cejudo's been out of competition for a little while, and while he's still training, we've seen videos. He does a great podcast and everything. Being in competition where you have to advance and having that like monkey on your back is something that keeps you going, the grind going. Of course, the idea that like, hey, I'm number 5. I need to climb that ladder. I need to get to the final couple spots. And when you're out of that mindset, it's hard to get back and jump right in. Now, we did see some fighters do it. Dominic Cruz had an extended layoff and then just jump back in like nothing happened. And then it gave you his famous rush does not exist, ring rust does not exist speech. But can you really do that? And do we risk with the 125 division, the same thing that happened with Mighty Mouse, where you clear that all out? And then, of course, the trending thing to do is to say, okay, I'm going to challenge for the next belt up, which a lot of people then said, oh, hey, you can go jump right at the top of the line, and it stacks the rest. It stacks 2 through X, saying, hey, I was waiting for my shot, and this guy just walks in the door, goes straight to the front of the line, and then you hold the division for another 3-4 months, depending on injuries, outcome, and everything else. But you can't really deny a fighter when they're that dominant,
Yeah.
So there you go.
The other issue, following up with what Mel said, is that the reason Henry Cejudo retired in the first place was that he wanted to have a family. He knew himself that throughout his entire wrestling career, throughout his entire fight career, he had to have a mindset of solely focused on the sport. So when you retire and you start a family like he did, he never learned how to have a competition and a personal life. So anytime he comes back to fight now, he's not in that same mindset that he had with that dominance. So even though it might even just be a sports psychology thing where maybe he can't perform to the best of his abilities because he can't get in that same mindset because he has other priorities like his daughter.
You're not daddy, You come home to the night.
For some people, getting a kid is the greatest thing that ever happened to them. You see another life in their career because they have something else to fight for. But for some athletes, when you were dominant with one specific mindset, it's hard to make that switch.
One thing I want to add on to that, and this is a kind of a preview for our guest to interview. Ross will probably mention Jody Tension. We've talked about Jody before a lot, Mac, our podcast and everything. And asking Jody, I asked him one time, like 20 years later, like, hey, do you think you could ever make a run like that? He said, I'm not that same guy anymore. I'm not that selfish. And to be in a sport where there's only one winner and everything else is second to X place, you have to be incredibly selfish. And that really stuck with me in terms of, and going along with you said, Mac, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got, you put on everything else to the side. I have to be the best. Everything is grinding. And when you grind that mode for, I don't know how many years, and then all of a sudden you go and it's like, hey, I'm waking up at 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I got this wonderful little baby. I get to see her develop. You go into little soccer games, you go into everything else. Getting punched in the face seems like a really secondary option at that point.
Yeah. You got to think about more than yourself at that point. So
absolutely.
I just got to go off of what my eyes see, guys, because honestly, the only thing that we've seen that really looked bad on him was the Marab fight. I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of in the Aljo fight. He came 100%. Back off of that layoff after making a family and changing that mindset. And he had a split decision loss to Aljo, and a lot of people thought he won that fight. That was a tit-for-tat fight with the best guy in the world in that weight class at that time. And listen, it's the same reason just fought Mario Batista. Jose Aldo came out of retirement.
Mhm.
He thought he was done too when Merab destroyed him. But then he's like, look, Merab just destroyed all those guys and blasted his way to the title by just grappling everybody and logging tons of control time. It's not just me. And he came out of retirement, and he looked great coming out of retirement too. I'm not ready to sign off on that Henry Cejudo doesn't have that dog in him and that he can't fight.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that, like, if he came back, he could he has the talent and the skills to be in the top 10. And if it's just for the paycheck, he could have a great career in the top 10. But to make it to that top of the mountain, to be that guy that beat one of the people that's considered one of the GOATs, Demetrius Johnson. Is he that guy?
Maybe.
Still?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just saying getting beat by Merab doesn't mean no. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and maybe he would be able to, make that switch in the mindset. But I think that's something he's struggling with.
Well, it's only one way to find out, and that's if he decides to even make that journey. It's a very speculative conversation, but a good one.
I still hope that UFC signs.
I mean, that would be a beautiful thing. They're going to have to do something. So, but not to harp too much on that. I do want to jump on this. One of the most outspoken people in the UFC we've known over the years. I'm pretty sure you guys can kind of figure out who I'm talking about. The man, Sean Strickland. Where is our cameras at?
I saw that this morning.
Yeah. Let's. There we go. So, Sean Strickland on his normal rants. Fight coming up, and he decided to tweet this out. Says America is a country of Christ. You could be Christian, Catholic, atheist, but our core values is that of Christ. I have nothing against Islam Muslims, but Islam should stay in Islamic countries. Although you would all benefit from Christ, I'm agnostic. Now, this was all over the place. Because he's like, first he said it's a country of Christ, but you could be atheist, which that means you don't believe in. That's first where he lost me. I was like, I had to reread it. I just woke up. I'm like, what?
What I think he's trying to say is that Judeo-Christian values have been so ingrained. Like I'm going to smart this up, and I'm hoping this is what he's trying to say.
I'm telling you right now, you're thinking, you're thinking so hard that I know that's not what he's thinking. 100%.
Yeah, I think he's trying to say that Judeo-Christian values have been so ingrained in our culture that
Sean Strickland is trying to say exactly what he said.
Even if you grow up agnostic or atheist, just by simply growing up in this country, you're going to have some of those values instilled in you. But honestly, I think that's even true if you're another religion. But the second aspect of this that I don't understand is I don't think Sean Strickland also realized that Muslims believe in Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, to a certain extent, it depends. There's a few different.
They believe in the prophet and the Messiah, but they don't believe.
Yeah,
in the
exactly. So there's a few different. We're not gonna get too deep in religion. The reason I did bring this up, one, it's normal Sean Strickland stuff, right? He's got a fight coming up. He says some outlandish shit, but the thing about it this time is this could possibly jeopardize the fight. Now, my sentiment to bringing this one up is a while ago, we heard Dana say, I don't put a leash on my fighters. I don't even think of things like that because, I let my fighters be themselves, right? My question to you guys is, does it get to a point where you kind of got to mitigate things, right? Now, on top of this, right, you also have the Conor situation, which has just been basically he's been found guilty of whatever SA charge it was, right? And that's another thing, right? It's another huge brand risk. One, UFC sponsors are pretty chill, right? I've met a lot of them. They're pretty much like they understand people do human things, right? Humans do human things. People fuck up. You got a company full of 100, 200 people. Somebody's gonna fuck up, all right? You can't pull a whole brand just because somebody fucks up, and they understand that, right? And I feel like that's there. But does it get to a point where guys like Strickland or McGregor, you got to kind of like be like, hey, look, man, I know we like to let you be yourself, but also we got a business to run here. When do you get to that point?
Never. Probably never.
Yeah, I think that genie is already out of the bottle.
Yeah.
Because they, Dana kind of the UFC's whole thing is like, hey, these are independent contractors, and they do things like this. It's different than, let's say, the NBA, the NFL, or Major League Baseball. So let's say, for example, at a press conference this weekend, whatever your team is versus whatever your team is, and there were bad calls. If the player gets on the mic being interviewed and say, man, the refs cost us that game, he is getting an instant fine, and it's automatically deducted from his paycheck that comes out every week, paid by the NFL owners. And we're talking a different sum of money. So if you start finding these fighters that fight at most maybe 3 to 4 times a year, what's the fine? You're going to have it's going to be a sliding scale of fine, because a fine against Sean Strickland is going to be way different than a fine against a lower tier guy that is just making his way in the UFC. So I think that genie is already out of the bottle. I don't think you can ever cap anything that whatever fighter is going to say in both Twitter and our interviews, and also doing UFC events.
I mean, but I think my question is more the fact of like, when do you like part ways? Like, when do you, because at some point, right, when you make statements like this, right, now Sean Strickland can't fight in Saudi. He can't fight anywhere over in that area where it's going to be heavily, you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to cause issues, right? Yeah. I mean, they've had heels before, right? And there's certain heels, and it's like countries and stuff like that. Like, all right, you might not like this country, or you got certain heels that come to the USA and they fucking hate the crowd here, right? Mm-hmm. They go off, right? And that's one thing. But religion things get a little deep. You get what I'm saying?
It's a different level.
Exactly, right? You have extremists. You have people that go to the extreme. You have people that unalive themselves for their religion because they feel that strongly about it, right? So you get in this sticky territory where it's like, is it becoming more than a brand risk? This could be more of a health risk for not just said athlete, but for all the athletes that is in that, because it's some people, it's some places in America you go where a Muslim population is way greater. Like in parts of Michigan, you have whole cities that are basically completely Muslim at this point, right? So that means he can't go there, right? So it's like, I think that's where my question is like, do you just allow them to continue to do this, and then you just basically like, I guess you can only fight here and do this, and you make them basically limit their sales, or do you just take them out? Like they're like, you just, hey, look, part ways, and maybe you can find a home on another organization, but we can't do it here.
I don't know if you put a leash on Strickland. Strickland's more than one to double down on it, triple down on it, and say even more. Plus the fact that if you do, let's say, for example, this is completely, a thought of scenario, but if they said, hey, you know what, we're taking this championship fight from you because of this, we're going to strip you of the opportunity. Well, people say, well, look at all the stuff that happened with Conor. You guys haven't stepped in at any time. Look at the stuff that has happened with John Jones. He's had legal trouble. You guys haven't stepped in time. So the first time you step in, it's going to be, oh, that's too much or too little. So the path of least resistance is to let it continue to go, no matter how ugly that path is forward.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how much that affects the ticket sales.
I think it'll help ticket sales, if anything.
Well, not in that demographic. Right. Do you think in that demographic? Well, they might pay to see him get his ass
exactly. Beat. Either you love it.
Yeah. You're right. You are correct. Maybe Sean Strickland is the best marketer that the UFC has ever had. Who knows? Maybe he's the marketing genius that the UFC never knew they had. But sometimes, I don't know, man. I've seen Strickland a lot. He does do this and like antics and stuff, but like, I wouldn't even say antics. Like, he does feel strongly about a lot of this stuff. But I don't feel like the way people think it is the way it really is. I've been around Extreme. I've seen him talking to people. He knows a lot of people. He helped Python train for the fight. I don't know, man. I like the guy. I'm a Strickland fan. I like people who speak their mind, right? I like people who are not afraid to speak their mind, regardless of how bad it could get sometimes, right? I'm a huge Kanye fan. He said some crazy shit, right? Right. I love the guy, but he said some crazy shit, right? But I also, that's the reason I love him, because he says that he says what he said, what he's always done or said whatever he wanted to, right? And that makes you who you are. So I don't know, man. Strickland is big, but the whole thing with Conor, I think, yeah, bro, that too. Yeah, bringing up the John issue. You're right. They let John slide with a lot of stuff, man. I'm a John Jones fan, but strictly the octagon. Like, love the guy in the octagon. Like, I'm a strong believer people can change. I'm not saying that he's a fucked up individual for life, but he's done some fucked up shit. It is what it is. If it's true, allegedly. Yeah. If it's true, you know?
You can love the art, but
yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. It was some fucked up artists, but they got some good paintings, right? I mean, majority of the artists were on drugs. Let's just be real. Like Da Vinci, all of them, those guys were basically freebasing heroin. So just saying, like, they were doing opium. Yeah, they were smoking opium. So I mean, it is what it is. Like, our greats have not been the best of our greats haven't been the greatest of people. Let's just say that over time. But I digress. Moving on. Let's actually jump into the karate combat section. I don't want to take up too much time before Ross gets here. It's some stuff we do need to talk about. I'm actually going to let Mac lead this one because I think you know a little more information about this. But and well anticipated fight that we thought was going to happen for karate combat. Luis Roca versus Shazib Rind, interim title champion versus the world champion.
First world champion. Let me make sure I give him his full credit. This fight was supposed to happen, highly anticipated, was pushed to Singapore. Luis Roca was on an injury for a while. I think he suffered it in practice. It was like a knee injury or something. So he was supposed to come back, and now we got news not too long ago, which is insane because I literally just talked to Luis Roca in Miami, and I talked to Shazib, and they were both like, yeah, we're trying to make it happen right here in this time. And I was like, all right, cool, awesome, because I want to see the fight. It's another one that I love and hate at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. But I want to see the fight. So I asked about it. And then we get news that the fight's not happening and that Shazib is fighting Edgar Skivers. Now, the reason I said I'm letting Mac lead this is because it is a little weird on how this came about, because I'm guessing now this is considered the world title fight, not an interim fight. Correct, Mac? No, it's for
the interim again. So he's fighting.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Tom.
Got it. Okay, so break it down for the people. He is fighting Edgar Skivers now, but can you kind of explain like the context of how this all happened?
So there's some aspects that I don't know, but that the fighters themselves talked about publicly. So I'll speak to that. So even if I did know more on the inner workings, I wouldn't be able to speak. But when fighters talk about it, it's free game. So it seems that that Luis Rocha originally had it planned for him to fight in February. He agreed to fight Shazib in February, but they wanted to have the fight in January instead for the first fight of the card. But that didn't work well for Luis because his wife has just had a child. So he wouldn't be able to get back into a full camp quickly enough to be fully prepared for an opponent like Shazib. So he didn't agree to that. Where it's interesting is instead of Shazib just waiting for Luis, waiting the extra month, he wants to fight, defend his own title and put it up for risk. Now, when they posted this, I didn't really think Edgar Skivers was going to be the opponent because they actually kind of just to put up engagement, they asked, who do you think should fight? And originally I put Jeremy Payet and Weber Almeida as the options because when it comes to the rankings, those make the most sense because even though they're lower on the rankings, they're both very experienced opponents. They're both on winning streaks. And unlike some of the other opponents who are unavailable, like, for example, Gabriel Varga, he is the number one contender at this point, but he injured his hand, so he won't be available for January. So he should have been the one fighting for this. But it's interesting that they're going for this fight with Edgar Screevers. And I think it's part of this theme that's going on of basically the old versus the new, the old school versus the new school.
100%. And I was going to say that in the chat that we're all in, a lot of this information we got is because we're in a chat where they were going in. Like, bro, when I say this chat gets insane, it's full of fighters. Awesome's in here. Some of the owners, founders of Karate Combat, a lot of us in media, everybody's in here. And they went at it for a good about quarter of the day. And a lot of this, like basically what he said, a lot of this. And one of the sentiments too is to that statement of the old versus the new. A lot of the new guys feel that because they have, especially the Gold Shed guys, they have a strong MMA base with wrestling and stuff like that, that they are the more dominant fighters in Karate Combat under the new rule sets and the evolution of Karate Combat. What Luis Roca made sure they understood was that before I was in Karate Combat, I was in MMA and I had an undefeated record, right? Like I'm not, I'm not a slouch, right? Also, if you know Roca and you know the camps that he trains with some good UFC guys who know how to fucking wrestle, and they wrestle really good. So it's not like he's not around the pedigree of people that can get him to the point where he can be at the level of a guy from the Ghost Shed, because a majority of all of the Karate Combat guys that are at Ghost Shed, now I'm not even gonna say majority, all of them, I was literally just there. They all do all of the practices. You're in there, they're rolling, then they're up, they're striking, they're hitting pads, like they're doing the whole entire thing. They're not, it doesn't matter if they're in UFC, doesn't matter if they're in Karate Combat, doesn't matter if they're in Bellator, Titan, whatever, right? They're all doing the same exact routines, right? They're all doing an MMA routine. So they all have that strong base, and it does help. Like you have seen it be substantial, but also too, like a lot of the Ghost Shed guys are getting kick knockouts. Like Shazam's got like what 3 kick knockouts or kicks that led to him getting TKOs. Like, so a lot of it's not even really the grappling too. It's a lot of it's just domination. I think Luis Roca is one of the OG guys from Karate Combat, and that could get the job done. Right. The only person that I feel like he would have a hard time with is the person that had just beat him, right? In his last fight was TWV. And this TWV was super dominant, but he's gone now. So we can't even talk about him. That's over with.
No, yeah. And honestly, Luis Rocha, the fact is that and this is something that Shazam needs to work on, is there's that blitz strike that he's shown vulnerability to from his first fight to his last fight. And when it comes to that blitz strike, that is Luis Rocha's main fighting style. That's his bread and butter. But the difference is he has the experience to actually finish once he has you hurt.
Yep, 100%.
So I'd say that it's a bigger risk than Edgar Screevers for Shazam. Like, for Shazam, because while Edgar Screevers can also do that blitz style too, and we'll probably see some of that too, where Edgar Screevers is most dangerous is with the grappling and with the volume. Yeah. And that's why you see even today President Awesome posting about how Shazam is working with a world champion wrestler.
And with Shazam don't turn down anybody at the gym. I'm gonna let y'all know that now. Like, he will spar damn near anybody. The big guys, the little guys, motherfuckers off the street that think they tough, they tear them all up. I've seen videos and in person of him kicking people in their liver, and they just like, yeah, I'm done. It's over for me today. I'm gonna pack it up and go home. So interesting. Also, I feel like to this fight with Screevers, that this is another chance for Shazam to show that he is meant for this, right? You always have this sentiment, like from Rocha and the rest of them, right? You haven't really fought nobody of substance yet. Bruno was his first real win of people that they know of, right? Not saying that he hasn't beaten people that are good, right? Just people that they know of, people that have recognition around them or something like in that realm of things, right? So him beating Screevers would definitely kind of put the cap on the top of that bottle of like, listen, like I'm actually a real contender. Like you guys can't shade me no more. I don't want to hear this, right? These are the OG guys. Now, Bruno, you can't argue that one a little bit, but if he can dominate Scrivers, I think there's no conversation anymore about if he deserves to be at the top. I think Rocha just got to go in and get that fight done, and I want to see it soon. I don't know when it will happen now, because you would want it to be. I guess it's awkward too. I mean, we would do it on A side. A side is Rocha, so you would kind of want it to be on this side of things, on this side of the world, closer to Brazil, right? Interesting. Anybody else got any thoughts on this?
Well, what if you have the ultimate scenario if Scrivers beats Cesar? Then you have.
And then we got Luis Rocha versus Edgar.
Sorry to throw chaos in again, but there's a chance.
Yeah, well, so this is where I'm at with that one, right? That one is like Pantoja versus Royval or somebody again, right? It's just like, it's one of those ones where it's like, it's gonna be a good fight, but it's like, do we really want to see that, or do we want to see the new guy get a chance, right? We always want to see Scrivers fight because I love Scrivers, I love Rocha, I love all of these guys. But storyline wise, what builds it and what makes it better, I guess, in the aspect of like fan service, Shazay being a pride of Pakistan, leading fighter from his nation, it's got immense of love from there, right? Is a lot bigger sentiment if he wins it versus Scrivers. It's the same thing with Arturo. Like I told people, with the whole Arturo and Owen fight, was the best case scenario as far as like just life-changing situation, right? Was Arturo winning, right? Like nothing against Owen, but Owen has a lot going for him as far as like, and not saying Arturo doesn't, right? But Owen has his family, right? He has his mom, his beautiful family, has his fiance, Scott. They both have degrees. He's a PhD, he's a doctor, right? And you got Arturo on the other hand, who's this guy who's away from his family for 12 years, trying to make money so that he can bring them over here, give them a better life, and all of this stuff, right? And this could like change his life forever, right? And this is all he really has to fall back on, right? He doesn't have a degree, doesn't have none of this, right? And I feel like it's a similar situation with Shazay, right? He came over here, absolutely nothing, right? From Pakistan. Asim didn't even believe in him. Awesome didn't even believe in him. It was Laura who believed in him. Laura brought it to Awesome. Awesome was like, nah, I'm good. Laura said, I'm going to take my money and bring this guy over here, right? So.
Yeah, I said once that Laura is the Dr. Dre to Shazay.
Oh, 100%. She believed in him, right? And to this day, like, and I've been there for majority. I think I've been there for all of his fights since December that he's had. And, bro, like, she's super supportive. And it just, to me, like the Scrivers Rocha fight would be amazing for the OG karate fans, right? For the OG karate fans, super fan service. For the ushering in of the newer, like, because it's a merge of the crypto kind of guys and the OG karate fans now. I think for the overall, Shazay getting that fight. And also, too, I think it would suck because we had all of this buildup of them going back and forth over multiple fights, like over multiple cards. We've seen them going back and forth. They went back and forth in Singapore when Shazay fought. They went back and forth at the last fight. They almost fought before the fight. And it was another one where they had like a face off and stuff like that. And it was like all this buildup. So it would suck. So Mal, chill. I
just wish this fight was in UAE or Saudi Arabia, because this is also going to be the first Muslim versus Muslim fight in karate combat.
Rocha's Muslim as well. Oh, Scrivers. Yeah. No, I think it's gonna be if it's February.
No, it's gonna be
January. Oh, it's in Miami. Yeah, it's in Miami for sure. It's January. Yeah. For sure, it's gonna be in Miami. I think this,
which is Shazab's adopted.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a lot of like. If you watch his, I think it was his first fight in Orlando or something. And he had a lot of people out there going crazy for him.
Dude, Pakistan flags was flying
everywhere.
I was up at the top, and I'm just looking, and especially when that whole brouhaha happened.
Yeah.
And then the DJ throws on the Jay-Z and I forget the name of the song and everything. Everybody's dancing. Then 30 seconds later, they were out, gone.
Yeah. No, when Shazam is done, they're done. I'm not gonna 100%. lie. They come strictly for Shazam, and I respect it. It is what it is. They got their guy, right? And they have immense loyalty to him. Same thing in Singapore. Like, they were deep. They came deep. Luckily, after Shazam fight, he was the main event, and then it went into IFC. So it didn't really make much matter. It would have been cool to have some of the homies be able to have more people there to fight. But the Pakistan fans, they in there, they out of there as soon as Shazam is gone, and they're going hard the entire time he's fighting. Singapore, they had a whole section. Singapore, they had like a whole, just because I kept doing my bits over there by their section. It was them. And the crazy thing was, this was the crazier thing is, it was them and it was all the Brazilian streamers. Shout out Gagamos and all of them. I think I'm saying his name wrong, but they're all big streamers from Brazil, and they're all like, they like Roca and Arroyo and all the Brazilian guys, and they come out to the fights whenever they're fighting. So they were thinking Roca was going to fight, so they had already came for that one. And they were all right there with the Pakistan fans. So it was funny to see like Roca and Shazam go back and forth. And then the Brazilian fans and the Pakistan fans were like right there with each other. So it was insane. But we definitely are going to get a good fight out of this. I say that. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I feel like this is a pick'em. I feel like we have a little more time. We'll get more into it. We still have like 3 weeks before the fight happens. So I don't want to dive too deep into like a breakdown. Just kind of wanted to build, set the bricks of context for you guys for the later on weeks when we get into it. Also, Fubar said, old belt versus new belt. This is such a great matchup. Facts. This is a great matchup. Former champ versus current champ, current interim champ. It's a lot of champions right now. You got the real champ floating around with the I don't want to say real, like, because Shazam is a real champ too. So whatever. The official on paper champ. And,
well, I think that's one thing a lot of people also misunderstand is that, like, when it comes to the interim title, like when you unify the title, that's not you winning the real title. That counts as a title defense. So if Shazam beats Edgar Screevers and then beats Luis Rocha, he'll have 2 title defenses. It's just right now is basically there's not an undisputed title. There's a disputed title.
All right. Well, listen, we got 7 minutes before my man Turbo Ross Levine gets here, man, my guy. But before we do that, I want to quickly go through a few things. We want to do this little thing. We do this recap over 2024. Some we'll be doing over the years and maybe over the quarters. I don't know. We'll see how much we can do it. But we want to give our Warriors Voice Karate Combat Yearly Awards. All right. All of us have our own picks for this. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a few similar picks in here. But I have 3 categories that we're going to be going over. And the 3 categories are best knockout of the year 2024, the fight of the year for 2024, and the best newcomer of 2024. Now, the best newcomer means somebody coming to Karate Combat this year. So if they fought in December or before that, they don't count. They would have had to come this year in 2024 and fight. So that's that. Who wants to start off giving theirs?
I'll go for it.
All right, let's go. MMA pickers, what's your picks?
All right, top 3 for each category. I'll do KO of the year first. I'm going to start from number 3. Number 3, Chelmaya KOs Winsky and gets engaged.
Oh, okay. So you got 3 per?
That's what I saw in the notes.
Did I say 3? No, I meant 3 like your actual 3, like your top, like 1, 1, and 1. My bad. That was my fault. But yo, now I want to hear him. Now you got to do it.
All right, number 2 goes to Alves for the viral head kick knockout over the Executioner, just for trial points. And then number 1, just because of importance and impact, I'm going to give it to recency bias, Arturo's knockout over Owen. Because he got a title. Okay.
That's a title, and it was a first round title knockout, and somebody who's never been knocked out before. I respect those picks. All right. I think. Ooh, who I want to hear next? Mallory Woods. What's your picks?
Well, see, just which is matching my educational career. I only went with 3, like you saw. This explains public school education right here. So I'm going to go first with my best knockout. The number 1 I have is Ross Levine versus the Eagle. It was a So I know he's coming up in a couple minutes, but it was definitive. I've never seen anybody get kicked that. I had actually wondered how his instep felt like that, because to the back of the head, man, it was, and it sounded off too. It was snap. And then of course the big shock after that, he retires on the spot. And again, I always point, you could see Josh as he literally lifts his headset. It's like, is this actually happening? Nobody knew. And as Ross said, on TV before he went in there. Going for my fight of the year, I got to go with KFC 46. Also, Brendan Jenkins versus Charlie, and let me see, Ontiveros. Hopefully, I got that right. That fight was just exciting, back and forth, and there's never an unexciting Brandon Jenkins fight. The guy, don't leave. This is not a go to the bathroom fight when he's got his feet on the mat. So always stay around for that. That was just exciting to me. And of course, newcomer, I may be stealing candy here, but Elaine Pereira, you gotta. She did not let the moment be bigger than her. Obviously, you got Big Brother, who's up there, who is absolutely the literal definition of a monster. And he's coming in, and she didn't let the moment get bigger than her, and she's carving out her own lore in karate combat.
All right. You want me to go, or you want to go? You want to go last, or you want to go before me, Mac? What you want to do? I give you the option.
I'll go next.
Go.
Mirza Bektebuev knocks out Luis Rocha. Champ versus champ, first champ to knock out another champ. I think that has to be considered a knockout of the year. For the what was the second category? Newcomer.
It's newcomer, and then fight of the year. Fight
of the year. I gotta go Luis Melendez versus Will Esparza, because it was one of the fights I made as a matchmaker when I was a matchmaker. So I have a strong bias, but I think it's a strong contender for fight of the year. So.
I agree.
And then for newcomer of the year, you got to give it to Arturo Vergara, because he went from rookie to champ in the same year. The only other person to do that was Owen Chelmia, who he beat to get to the title. But I want to give honorable mention to Adrian Weathersby. He's one of the best pure karate guys to come onto the scene. And also Jade Durand, who is one of the fighters that I scouted for the organization.
Yeah, shout out all of them. Yeah, Adrian, we had a conversation about Adrian. I like Adrian. I want to see more of him. I love Adrian, and I love his humbleness. So my picks, best KO of the year. I had a hard time. I struggle with this one, y'all. I struggle really hard with this one. I've seen a lot of these in person too, and it's really tough, bro. It's a lot of really good ones. I struggle, to be honest. I feel like one that's not talked about a lot. And I think maybe it's because of the angle of the camera when it happened, and you couldn't really see it like that. But Joe Pennefield, when Arturo knocked out Joe Pennefield with the kick, that was a clean kick. I think it got overshadowed because Rafael Alves scissor kicked James Vick in the same fight card. But that
I have a draft of superlatives, and one of the three I have for a potential vote is Joe Pennefield.
It was a clean knockout. Like, it was clean as shit. It was clean as shit. It was there.
The setup was beautiful.
It landed it. It was amazing. It was just execution at its best. And it was a walk-off knockout. Like, he literally cleaned them, right? It was no need for a ground and pound, nothing, right? One of the cleanest. But all in all, I think Alves's was as clean and was just much flashier, right? Against a much taller opponent than himself, right? So I ended up landing on Rafael Alves' knockout on James Vick. Just amazing. I mean, Joe Rogan himself said it. One of the best knockouts of all time. Like, it's insane. So definitely have to give it to him. But I want to give my honorable mention to Arturo with the Joe Pennefield knockout. But I'm going to go ahead and jump to my newcomer, because my newcomer is definitely Arturo Vergara. Like you said, from coming into the kickback, I seen him. I said, this guy has the potential to do it. And in that same year, he did it, right? And fought the most times. Broke records, got the belt, first Chilean champion, new guy in from a kickback, earning a contract to actually winning the belt by the end of the year against the first champion ever. You got to give it to that guy. And my fight of the year, is going to go to his opponent that he won against to get the belt, Owen Chalmers versus Eric Goyito Perez. I feel like that was one of the best fights of the year. It was at elevation. They went extra rounds. They stood and banged it out for a very long time. Both of those guys had immense gas tanks. Both stuck around, had fan service afterwards. Like, it was just an amazing thing. I think overall and all, that was one of the best fights we had all year long. And it was an amazing main for that card. So those are my picks. Owen Chalmers versus Goyito Perez. Best KO, Rafael Alves versus James Vick. KO, scissor kick. And best newcomer of the year has got to go to Arturo Vergara. So those are our yearly awards. Like I said, I knew it was going to be some similar ones there. We didn't really discuss. We discussed like our potentials and stuff, but we didn't discuss who our actual answers were. So dope to see. Great minds think alike. That's probably why we all here together. You know what I mean? But we got Ross coming in a second. I think we might have time to go over one more thing. I think I did have one more thing I want to talk about. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? MMA pickers, anything in the UFC or anything going on that you? Oh, you know what? Did you see Paige Van Zandt signed to GFL?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that. Wow.
Yeah, she said she doesn't think it's over. Yeah, she signed to the.
I saw a fun statistic that Paige Van Zandt's last opponent has more knockdowns against UFC fighters than Bilal Muhammad.
Which is crazy.
Is this more shade to Bilal? I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I can't stand nothing more shade to Bilal's insane. Oh, well, we could talk about this too while we wait on Ross. Did you hear about Khabib and what he said to Conor and Ireland in general?
That's crazy talk.
Yeah,
I'll be back. I gotta do that for a second.
He said that if you guys didn't know, I'm gonna pull up the tweet so I can give you the exact words because you gotta know I'll chop shit up. Yeah. But basically, the sentiment was that Ireland had no fighters. I think I might not like some of the fighters from Ireland, but I cannot sit here and actually say that with a straight face that these guys do not have fighters. I think that's actually absurd to say. You have quite a few that's doing their thing, but I can understand the sentiment of why he said that. Oh, he didn't drop out. Why he said that because of how the Dagestanis are dominating right now and what they're doing. But I don't know, man. What was your thoughts when you heard this?
I mean,
either one of you guys. I'm trying to pull up the.
It's a crazy thing to say. They have a title contender in the PFL Tour world. They have a top 5 guy in the UFC world. There are good Irish, and they have some great boxers. There are a lot of good Irish fighters. Yeah, Dagestani fighters are better. That's a fair statement. To say that they don't have anybody is seems a little bit spiteful. That's all.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is this is insane. I hate. Yeah, this is crazy too. This is what's the name? But I say I hate this because I'm looking at the this. Oh man, can you show me the damn screen? Holy crap. There we go. Look, I'm looking at this and I'm reading it and I just literally could hear Khabib saying this shit. Like, Ireland level, not even half a Dagestani level. But yo, yeah, you dude, it's tough, man.
I mean, that's a more debatable statement.
That is. Saying they have 0 fighters is insane.
Right. Yes.
But do you think that there is also a little bleed over, even though these two men, when talking about Khabib and Conor, they had probably one of the most heated build-up in modern times to fight. Speaking of religion, speaking of don't cross this line, what line? Yeah, I crossed it, draw me a new one, et cetera, et cetera. Khabib sitting very patient. And then all the brouhaha that happened after that. It would not be hard to believe that he still has a lot of ill will kind of left over for Conor. But I mean, he's throwing all of Ireland under the bus as well. I mean, these are two men that I think if these two men were the last 2 men on earth and they just so happen to cross paths on this great planet, that they would still fight.
Yeah,
there's no going back. There's no end of the beef. There is there's only one other human left on the planet, and I'm going to kill you. There's no Herb Dean. There's nobody to stop me or me this time. So I think a lot of that is a little catch strays over that. Ireland, unfortunately, is catching a few because of what he says about this. And it does. We're talking about it. It puts it back in the limelight, so it's going to be more talk. It's going to be more production for that,
Yeah, 100%. The storyline on that one is insane, and they've been going back and forth for so long, bro. It's never gonna stop. Like you said, it's never gonna stop. It's completely on site. Whenever they see each other, they are going to fight. It's
just literally Madison Square Garden, where when you get so mad that you charter a plane to fly to another country and hoping to catch somebody, you're talking a different level. The on-site 3:00 at the playground has nothing to do with this anymore.
Yeah, 100%, man. Definitely don't want to be on site with either one of those guys, nor the guy we're about to bring on, man. Nor the guy we're about to bring on, because this man is insane. One of the best to do it in karate, man. Somebody I absolutely adore the stuff that he's done. The World Cup title, World Warrior Cup multiple times, 2 Diamond National rings. This man has been the middleweight champion. Was the middleweight champion of karate combat. Up into his retirement, which saddened all of us. I don't think there's been 2 times I wanted to cry at karate combat, and that was one of the times I wanted to cry. So this guy, I was excited to have him on. Brooklyn native, Kings County guy, my man, Turbo Ross Levine, former middleweight champion of karate combat. Let me get you over to the big screen. There we go. There he is, my man Turbo in the building. How you feeling today?
Guys? Man, I'm doing great. How about you guys? Good to see everybody again.
Doing good, champ. How you feeling? How's retirement? How's retirement treating you?
Man, well, I'm sure a lot of people have been keeping up with me. I'm crazy busy right now. I mean, we're getting ready to open a gym, but otherwise training really hard, coaching a lot. My students are crushing it. So life is good, fellas.
Yeah, man, that's super dope. We did see you open up a new gym. That's beautiful. I seen you guys in there kicking walls and stuff like that. That was dope. I love that video. You got to involve martial arts even in the construction. I love to see it.
A little bit of demo, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I had to run some demo on my own. But yeah, it's going well. We're anticipating like a March opening date. So it's coming along fast.
And this is in Rhode Island, correct?
It is, yeah. It's in Rhode Island. It's funny, I live right now in Warwick, Rhode Island, which is like central. We're gonna go a little bit further south to actually the stomping grounds of my wife Maddie in North Kingstown. So it's a really great spot. There's actually an Amtrak in the same like little it's in like I don't want to call it a cul-de-sac, but it kind of is. There's like 3 different mini plazas in the spot where I'm at, and there's an Amtrak station right behind it. So people that are on the East Coast, you want to come visit, it's going to be like that to get there. So it's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited.
Pickers, that sound like we might need to take a trip up, bro. Well, I mean, also Mallory, you right there as well. So we're all right there in the same realm of things.
It's the great thing because, and good to see you again, Ross. It's great. We've not only got sparring tips, we've got medical advice. Now we're getting a bunch of deconstruction, how to build things, guys taking down walls. They're pulling out carpets. Your channel is evolving. I'm expecting food reviews next. We're covering so many topics here, but it's great. I was so happy to see that you and Maddie have, you guys are taking this journey, and obviously I will be. I promise you that I will be making a trip up there. We'll do some lives. We'll do some behind the scenes and everything. Actually, a question for you. Tell me what you've learned so far in terms of starting this type of business, because you have your own business before with therapy. Starting this type of business, what have you learned so far that you didn't know before?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's just so much behind the scenes. I learned a lot about negotiation. I learned a lot about leasing commercial property. All that lingo is brand new to me. I learned that I've made some really great connections over the years. And the people that I'm close with, it's good when you learn how to keep your circle very small and very tight. It's amazing the things that come from that. So just like, I think Mallory, you might have met my buddy Steve Napa. Mm-hmm. He's been to a bunch of my karate combat fights, older gentleman. He's the man. He was a client of mine. We would work out together. When I was off camp, we would do like our meathead workouts on Sunday. He just likes to be around the boys. But anyway, Steve is a bigwig in the construction department, when it comes to Rhode Island. So he's the man. So right off the bat, he's like, I got you on a contractor. He's like, I'll set you up with the right people. They'll do right by you. So we got that taken care of. They started work almost immediately when I signed the lease. And then, so my buddy Pat, his brother does hardwood floors, but not just any hardwoods. He does like Providence College, Boston Garden. So he does like really high level flooring. So he's going to hook up the floors. And the best man in his wedding is a master electrician. So it's like boom, 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 boom,
Building
all
the
from
squad.
just having like the right people around me, you know? So I got to give that, you know, that credit goes back to my parents on just raising me right. And, you know, the people that I've been around. And then of course, when it comes to the business side, you know, Jotty Tension and, you know, that whole group of like the Relentless, now it's the Impact Mastermind group, Kelly Murray coaching when it comes to, you know, managers and stuff. So, man, I'm really thanking my lucky stars that I've been surrounded by such amazing people that are going to help this be successful.
Yeah, it's interesting too that, and I want to ask you, like, do you find yourself like finding it hard to make time for all these things? I also see as well, Sam Alvey is another one like yourself who does a multitude of things, right? He runs a food truck. He's doing school now, teaching people online. He's got the farm. He's got the family, which is huge, right, as well. He's got his career, and then he's posting like 3 times a day on every social, right? So you're also in that same realm of just like you have so many things on your plate. How do you go about like adding these new things and not straining yourself on the other ones?
Yeah, I don't believe that, you know, the people that will sit back and be like, oh, there's not enough time in the day. Well, you know, how many hours are you scrolling on Instagram? You know, like let's like kind of do an audit real quick and see what's really wrong with your time. But I had to learn again, kind of much earlier in my life, that time blocking was so key. So for me, it's kind of straightforward. You know, you have your schedule, you got 24 hours in a day. When I was in grad school, it was very simple for me of like, okay, what's non-negotiable? These are my hours at school. I have to be there. There is nothing I can do about it. So that's gone. What do I have left? Well, I got to sleep. I need at least this many hours of sleep. Okay, that's this chunk a day. What do I have left? And, you know, how do you build on that? And you just keep checking it away of like, all right, here's my number one priority. I got to train. If I don't train, nothing else is going to go right. So I plug that in. And then you just filter everything else in. Now, does it become more difficult when you have more things? Sure. But you know, it's like I was talking to a client today. They're like, oh, how are things going to change when you open the gym with like Turbo Sports International? Like nothing. It's not going to change. I'm just going to protect my time and make sure I'm not doing anything that doesn't move the needle for me. So it's the same way that, you know, I approached my combat career, right? It's like that came before everything. That's why I never opened the gym before I finished my career, because I wanted to give that my sole focus. And now we're moving into the next phase of my life, and this is where we're at.
Yeah, I respect that, man. Somebody told me one time, and it fucked me up in the head when they said it. And I was like, man, that's not enough time. And he was like, yo, Jay-Z got 24 hours, the same 24 hours you got, Jay-Z has. Sure. He runs 16 businesses, a family, a record label, all this stuff. And you telling me you're busier than him? And I was like, damn, you got a point there. And I was like, all right. And it made me think a little bit more on that. So it's a very, very intelligent way to look at it, and very pragmatic too. Like it's very like simplistic, but sometimes it's harder for people to get over that. The way culture is built nowadays, like you said, Instagram, TikTok, all of these social getaways that people go to with their minds, and they don't understand like how much time it takes away from other things. So, yeah, go ahead.
And I think that's a severely great point in terms of how much, you know, time management and everything. And I believe that if we were to look at time management in terms of time is one thing that we universally, every person here gets the same amount when the clock struck midnight today until currently right now. So for example, if you were to pay time out, like you were to pay money, like you're like, hey, I'm only going to spend 5 minutes watching a story on Instagram. It's really great. It's funny, but it's like you're paying. You're not going to get that time back. Those minutes are burnt. But this revolves to the question, Ross, I know you've spoken many times about not only training, but you incorporated mental training in your career as well. How has that mental training helped you towards the business side?
Yeah, I mean, I actually still work with Dylan. You know, I still work with MindLock because he works with, I think the way that you approach any type of competition at a high level, it's going to translate over to business. I mean, protecting myself and being a high-level athlete is no difference than being a high-level successful CEO, right? I have to manage my time. I have to train. I have to make sure I'm educating myself at every turn and just always taking advantage of all those opportunities. So it really doesn't change. I'm still working with Dylan Nadler. Maybe we're not as frequent, but I'm still talking to him and trying to dial in. But some of those same strategies of like, okay, how do I get the very best out of each training session? What are my goals? How do I need to feel for me to achieve those goals and be successful is the same way I'm attacking business. It's like, all right, what are the most important things that we need to do this week between myself and my wife, Maddie, who's going to help manage the gym? And then it's like, all right, so if this week is all about curriculum development, what do I need to do to put that in place? How do I need to feel? What kind of emotion do I want to bring into it? What are my goals? What's my vision? And then you just chop it down and break it up across the week. And next thing you know, you got stuff done. So, it's a lot. And I'm not saying this is easy. I think it's simple in nature. It's simple in theory. It's definitely not easy, but that's why not everybody does it. I think it's all about figuring out how to navigate that and being able to communicate really well. And then also just get done what you got to get done. There's nothing else that's going to stop me but me right now.
Yeah. Love to hear it, man.
All right. Hey, Ross. Hanukkah just got done yesterday. I know you're busy with all this. You got your business and the construction. Did you get a chance to celebrate? And did you get a chance to eat any good Hanukkah food?
So, I'm not super religious. So no, I did not, indulge in any of the great Hanukkah food. My wife is Italian, so I would much rather have like pasta than a latke. So I'm gonna, I'm not gonna make that sacrifice anymore. But it was really cool because Christmas and Hanukkah aligned, so we were able to celebrate. We saw some family and we got all that done. So I appreciate you asking, man. That was great.
Awesome, that's fantastic. Yeah, no, I ate too many latkes, so I'm on the opposite side of that. Okay, yeah. Speaking of eating too many latkes, I know you work with a lot of up and coming fighters. I think I've heard a couple of guys in the IFC mention your name. And one thing that really fascinates me about these IFC guys, obviously most fighters go through years of training and then rigorous training camps, and a lot of these guys are kind of stepping into the gym for the first time and taking a fight within 3 or 4 months of even starting training. So yeah. I'm curious, what are the essentials for these guys, and what are the things that they should focus on in such a short time?
Yeah, that's a crazy thing with these IFC fighters. But I think a lot of times, like the lay person will be like, "Oh, this is going to be such a stupid fight." But these guys are putting their heart and soul, and girls are putting their heart and soul into this stuff, and they're treating it like they are in the UFC or they're in karate combat. So it is cool to watch. And is the level the same as a world championship level fight? No, but that doesn't like take away from the effort that still has to go into what they're doing on a regular basis. So, I mean, my advice would be take it seriously, because the person standing across from you is also going to take it seriously. Make sure you surround yourself with the right people. It's not a game. Combat sports is not for fun. It is combat, and you can get hurt, as you see in many of the events. So I think just take it seriously, do all the things that you think you should do as a professional athlete, and you'll get the results. Take care of your nutrition, take care of your recovery, and make sure you surround yourself with the right people to train, and you'll be successful.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then I got one more question on that topic. I know a lot of IFC fighters have also gotten up after their fights and talked about how the discipline from training has changed their lives. They've been able to live healthier and diet better. A lot of these guys are, again, stepping in there for the first time, not a lot of experience in athletics in general. What's some good nutritional advice that you give a beginner?
Oh gosh. I mean, first thing is, let's instead of telling you what to eat, it's easier to say what not to do. The not to do is a much easier list that will get you results faster. Number one, cut out your alcohol. Right? Alcohol isn't going to do anything for you anyway. So cut that out. That's usually a big way to lose weight, period. You just get rid of the poison and you'll be okay. But get rid of the alcohol, any type of, recreational drugs, things like that. Eliminate what you think a professional would be eliminating. Increase your water intake, and then just focus on your protein and carbs. I think a lot of times we think about, oh my God, I got to lose weight, I got to cut out carbs. I think that's nonsense. It's all fad dieting and kind of like fear mongering in the nutrition world. Carbs are good for you. They're fuel for your muscles. So, carbs are okay, especially for a combat athlete. So as long as everything is in moderation, but get rid of the alcohol and recreational drugs, increase your water, get your carbs, get your protein, get your fats. You'll be okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Ross, I have one other question. Now, I've been following, of course, this new journey with the new business and everything, and I don't think I've missed this. But what is the name of the new gym? And also give us everything that you're going to be teaching there. What are we to expect from this new paradise that is in lovely Rhode Island?
Yeah, man. Let me pop this hoodie off. It is warm. It's cold outside, but the sun's
I
coming
was
in.
going to say it's cold in Rhode Island. I've been up there.
It is, but the sun is popping in, and I'm getting blasted by the sun, so it's nice and warm. It is going to be Turbo Kickboxing Academy. I'm super excited. It's got a nice ring to it. Took me a while to figure some things out. We just actually we're going to be announcing the colors tonight, so our YouTube channel is live. So anybody watching Turbo Kickboxing Academy, check it on YouTube. We'd appreciate the subscription, comments, and all the videos. Our next video is actually going to be a full Q&A. So I'm not going to give all the details on like the colors and all the schemes and the equipment we're going to have. Check out that video. But Turbo Kickboxing Academy, North Kingstown, Rhode Island. As far as the curriculum, what we're going to be teaching, it is primarily going to be kickboxing. I'm not going to be teaching forms and weapons and stuff like that from the sport karate side. I think there will be a lot of the things that you saw me mesh into my combat career that I found very successful from sport karate will be taught. I think the footwork, the distance management, the control of space, I think is something that I did very well with. And I want to be able to pass that along. I'm already coaching that with my students now. So that's going to be a staple in, TKA and what we do there.
Thanks. And just if anybody ever wants to see, just go ahead and type in Ross Levine. Let's go both forms. The man does know how to use weapons. So if you ever want to throw back, go ahead and Google that. There's plenty of video out there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Mal actually did a perfect layup for some of my questions.
Who is that? Who is that guy? What is happening under there?
Yeah, he's been, I don't know, man. He's going real
taking the
barbarian on us
no
lately,
shave
yeah.
November a little too deep, my friend.
We're in January, bro.
He's going.
Yeah.
I think it looks good, man. I think it looks good. Teen Wolf, let's go.
But yeah, the question I was going to have is there's not a lot of kickboxing academies, like pure kickboxing academies in the U.S. And the ones that do the sport of kickboxing, they usually either label it like Muay Thai, or it's like a karate dojo that has an American kickboxing program attached to it. So what made you want to start a gym dedicated to the sport of kickboxing? And why do you think there aren't so many kickboxing gyms in the U.S. since this transition?
Yeah, I mean, simply that there are just not a ton of kickboxing. I think MMA really took over in the U.S. fast, where like the K1 kickboxing never quite took off for whatever reason. I mean, whether it be marketing dollars. I mean, why did Glory never become the most popular sport in the U.S.? I don't know. I think Glory kickboxing and One Championship kickboxing is some of the most exciting fights you're ever going to see. But I don't know why it never took off. For me, it's really because I just became really passionate about it. I did sport karate for so long. And after many years of training in the martial arts and doing Taekwondo, I stopped doing the forms. It stopped becoming enjoyable to me. I also realized that as a combat athlete, it just wasn't practical for me. I can argue with the traditionalists for years and years and years. And, I don't have the time or energy for that. But, it's like I just didn't find it practical for me and what I wanted to do. So I stopped training. And I started putting my attention somewhere else and kind of evolving my game. So, for me right now, I'm taking all of what I'm doing in 5-year windows. I think it is fair for us to also say, like, 5 years from now, my knowledge should change. My passion should change. The things that I enjoy and don't enjoy will change, just like your taste buds change. So 5 years from now, maybe I'll be doing something a little bit different, or my curriculum will evolve or digress into something different. But, you even look at some of my mentors like Jody Tenshin. It used to be TCK, Tenshin's Championship Karate. And then it was TCK Mixed Martial Arts. And now it's TCK Modern Martial Arts. There is room for evolution and change. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right now, I'm super passionate about the kickboxing community and, what that has done for my life and the life of my students. And I can't wait to pass that on. And as times change, I will change with it.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of fighters that come from that sport karate background when they make an American kickboxing system or Machida karate that they took the idea of katas and made it more practical for like sport fighting through modules and Kihon kata. But one thing you talked about in your video that I actually watched on your YouTube channel is that you want to bring in that traditional like values of martial arts.
1,000%.
So why do you think that's so important? And also, do you think that you'll also bring in a belt system like American kickboxing and BMT?
Yeah, awesome question. First of all, thank you for watching that, and thank you for bringing that up, because that's a huge thing that I think is missing from combat sports in general. But the answer is very simple. It's culture, right? I want to really breed a positive and endearing culture and be a force in the community. And I think one of the ways that we do that is by making sure that the community understands exactly what it is that we're all about. And I think what helped me be really, really successful, but not only that, but likable as a combat artist, is the way that I carried myself. I carried myself with integrity. You know, I was honest, I was loyal. I still am those things. But it's like I said in the video, you know, those aims to achieve that I learned, you know, back in Taekwondo is courtesy, integrity, self-control, perseverance, indomitable spirit. I mean, I think those things are very important. And it comes with the simple things of, hey, when you walk in, feet together, you bow at the mat, bow at the door, bow at the mat. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Like those things will will kind of like transcend the mat, and you will bring that to every single thing that you do in life. I mean, I know you guys, Mal and Mac, and, you know, Apollo, I don't know what your martial arts background is in full, but how many times have you guys walked into like a classroom and found yourself, you go to bow in a classroom, you're like, what the hell am I doing? Or you go into like the dentist's office, you open the door, you bow, you're like, God damn it, I did it again. But it's so cool, you know, like that's the stuff that I want my students to value. And I also want to note too, like, this is not going to be a fight gym. I am not promoting it as like, we are going to build fighters and I'm going to have the biggest fight team in the world. That will happen organically. What I want to do is make an impact in the community, and I want to serve the people that are like me when I came up, that just needed some guidance and, you know, needed an outlet, and look what it can become.
Yeah. That's super dope. I respect that, because coming from where it come from, you get the wrong outlets, it could get real hectic really quickly. For sure. Mac, did you have any more for him?
Yeah, a couple more. But the other second part of the question was, do you think you'll bring in the belt
that's
system?
Right. Yeah, sorry, I didn't touch on that. Yes, there will be a ranking system. I think we're going to do, we will probably do some type of belt system for the children's program. I think the kids program, I like the idea of belts. I think it's something tangible. They can feel it, they can see it, touch it. It's very easy to show progress that way. I think the youth classes really need that, because it's important to see progress and have that be tangible. But for the adults, we're going to work on something different. I do love the way that Bang Muay Thai and my man Dwayne Ludwig, I love how they do the colored T-shirts, you know, the shorts in different ways. So I'm going to try and find something unique that I can do for like my teen and adults, where we can still have some type of ranking, because I think there is an importance for knowing where you're at, and also know where you're going, right? And have some type of representation of what that rank means and what it means to uphold that rank. Otherwise, you're just training to train, right? So I want to also have that way of building retention and goal setting and things like that.
So 2 last questions. First, I think the question a lot of people are asking, especially me, because if I can, I definitely want to be at that grand opening. When is the grand opening? Do you have an estimated time?
The estimated date for our soft opening is sometime early March. You know, the way that everything is, you know, it's funny, I keep saying this to people, but it's like everyone, when I got started, they're like, construction always takes longer than you think it's going to be. And like, you're going to run into a problem here, and be patient and this and that. And I'm sitting here like waiting for something to go wrong. But thankfully, things are just smooth sailing right now. So as long as it keeps up on that track, I mean, I think soft opening in March, and then potentially a grand opening sometime in April. And Mal, you know, there's a martial arts tournament in Rhode Island in April.
In Warwick.
So we may in Warwick. So we're right in that kind of, I think that would be a great time, because I know the karate world really wants to support me, and I've gotten so many great messages. So we may do more of like an official grand opening sometime closer to April, but we'll see as things progress. I mean, we might hit the ground and be ready, and it might be sooner, but I will absolutely be promoting it and have that be an open event. We're going to have a lot of people coming by, even just like local influencers. So maybe if some of the IFC guys want to fly out and kind of check out the gym and take a class or something and have some fun, we'll get that rocking.
Okay, and my final question is, the champs, the new champs of the Goat Shed, and Luis Rocha were having some back and forth in a group message we have on Twitter, and I just want to get your thoughts on a comment Arturo Vergara made to Luis Rocha, since it kind of involves you too. He said,
Oh,
"Well, with all due respect, but the only real champs now is Shazab and me, because you guys never fought with this rule set. You used to throw kicks and touch opponents with points. We actually knock people out. Fuck the point fighting and screaming after each hit."
well, I mean, I don't, to some degree, I don't disagree. I'll tell you where I do disagree. I knock people out.
That's a fact.
I
That's
mean,
a fact. No lies spoken there.
I knock people out. I like to knock people out. I want to hurt people. So that's really the only thing I disagree with. He's not wrong, man. It is a new game. It is a different game. It is not the same league that it was when I was in there, and there's nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. So yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I also don't know why Luis Rocha got passed up on that opportunity. Is he still hurt?
Maternity leave.
Oh, good for him. Congratulations to
They
him.
just had a
I didn't
baby
know
not
that.
long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, his wife had a
He
child.
said that's
yeah.
why the fight was supposed to be before the birth.
Yeah.
Then
But
they got
hurt.
pushed back, and then they were going to do it, but it was like right around the time she was having the baby, and then she had it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of that gray area why he's doing it 2 interim fights.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think everybody should shut their mouth and give the man time with his baby.
yeah, I mean, yeah, let him rock. I'm like, I want him to fight now because I'm just selfish.
course,
I'm just a
but-
selfish fight fan, and I always say I'm dumb, so don't listen to me. So it is what it is, right? But that leads me into. I'm glad Mac asked that. It's perfect layup. We all over here is like Harlem Globetrotters right now.
And we didn't,
Nobody knows anybody's questions at all. There's literally just let it rip. The evolution of karate combat, right? As we spoke about it, right? Karate combat is a total different game from when you guys first stepped in, and guys like you, Scrivers, Rocha, the list goes on, right? Alvy as well. He's one of those guys that's been around for a minute from the old rule set into the new rule set, and you kind of left in the middle of the evolution of it, right? But I know, the transition, and I know you are I know for a fact that you watch all of them, and I know how much you pay attention. What are your thoughts on the evolution of and I know you guys, because we both know the traditional karate guys are, it's more MMA now, and you should change the name. I hear it all the time. You should change the name for karate combat. It's not karate anymore, this, that, and the third, right? And then you got these new guys coming in who have these MMA bases, and they're doing really well, and they're kind of like some of the karate guys, even against the Muay Thai guys, aren't doing that well, right? What's your overall sentiment on what you're seeing with the evolution of karate combat being basically an OG? And me, and for us, we first ballot Hall of Famer. We're all pushing for 100%.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything bad to say. I mean, it's just because something is different doesn't mean it's not good, right? Is it not good for those guys who came on, even before me, that are still in the league, that have never adapted and never evolved? Yeah, it's not good for them. Is it something like, I always say this too, it's like, would I have been eager to jump into karate combat now? If I was in the position I was in 5 years ago, would karate combat be something on my radar? Maybe not. It would be something that I would have to entirely change my training for. I would have had to done everything differently, where while I was, like you said, kind of in the middle of that transition, I was able to still utilize my skill set and then pull people in for fight camps. Like for Adamov, I pulled in a judo black belt and I started working on some judo. For the Sam Alvey fight, although it didn't really matter because he was too damn big, but I was working on some wrestling with some bigger guys, So like I was trying to evolve little bits and pieces, like on a fight-to-fight basis, because the rules were changing on a fight-to-fight basis. But now that you see this is the rule set, it looks like this is probably where it's going to stay for a while. Essentially it's MMA without submission grappling. So, it would be a completely different sport. It is a different sport. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just different than what it was. And if the people that are still there that don't like it, leave. I think my only I have two gripes with Karate Combat right now. All right,
Okay.
and it's pretty straightforward. Number one, I never got my belt, so I would still like my belt. I
Get
would
my
like my
man his
third
belt.
belt. I would like a belt. I actually messaged Awesome. I messaged Robert Bryan, so I'm waiting for them to get back to me. So if you guys are watching, give the man his belt. I want to put it up in my when I say 3-time world champion on my website and you only got 2 belts in the gym, they're gonna think I'm a fraud. So
Yeah.
so I would love
Maybe
my,
show up in Miami and be like, "Where's my belt?"
no,
We need to get him one of the new
love,
shiny ones, one of those glow in the dark ones, whatever,
I don't
the
even need that. I don't
LEDs.
even need that. So, but anyway, with that being aside, my only other gripe is that I think there's a lot of fighters that are still on the roster that are like the old era. You even see like they're starting up these like old era versus new era. Some of those guys don't want to be there, but they're not being allowed to exit their contract. So they're getting forced into these matchups that, in my opinion, don't really make sense, and it's kind of irresponsible. But that's just my take. Like perfect example, Adam Rosa. Right, Adam Rosas. So he's had 2 professional fights. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he had any professional fights prior to Karate Combat. Mac, fact check me.
No.
Okay.
None.
He's had 2 professional fights in Karate Combat. One, he lost a decision to my good friend Zach Benbuchta. Then he got knocked out by Sam Alvey. So he's 0-2 in Karate Combat, and you put him against a WBC world champion.
Yeah.
That makes 0 sense. And then what happened? He got stretchered out. That's not cool. So I don't love that. If you don't want those guys in Karate Combat and they don't want to be there, let go of their contract. You don't need them. If they do want to be there, like give them reasonable matchups like that. Those two had no business being in the same arena together. Let alone the same reason he had no reason to be with Sam Alvey is the same reason he didn't belong there. But and it just sucks. You see a guy like that who now, aside from the physical and mental damage that he may have, but now we're shortening his potential career. So that kind of sucks. But I like the evolution.
And it sucks too because when it comes to those point guys that transition to full contact, he's one of those guys that transitioned well. He just never had that time to really develop.
Well, I thought his fight with Zach was appropriate. You have those guys where it was still kind of like the rule set was close enough to what they had done before, but different enough where it was challenging but not dangerous. Now it's straight up dangerous for those guys to step in with anybody that has some MMA experience, and that's why you see the guys like Arturo Vergara, like Luis Rocha, or Luis Rocha still, but Shazib as well. They're doing fantastic because look at their experience, and then look at the people they're fighting, and look at the rule set. It's like they have a significant advantage. They are fantastic fighters, and they're going to do well for very, very long. But I'm excited to see how the league continues to grow.
Yeah. And speaking on Vergara, I wanted to get your thoughts because I know, like I said, I know you watch the fights. I want to get your thoughts on that fight, which was one it was quite surprising. It was one a lot of us didn't want to see, but also quite surprising of how quickly it did end, and that we've never seen Owen basically go down in that fashion, right? We've seen TWV drop him. That was with the liver shot. That was a little different. Yeah, it was a body shot. Kind of debilitated his body. Couldn't really do much. But this one was a little different. It was awkward, too, because I was there and I really didn't understand what was going on. Like, it was so weird. I didn't know if he was out or if he was just covering up or if he had just went out and he was just stiff, right? Because it looked like he was covering up the whole time. But then when he came back to it, it looked like he was waking up. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on the fight, like the outcome and just like, where did you expect it like to go like that? I don't know if anybody did. I knew it was a pick 'em, but that quick and on Twitter regard, and he actually, the crazy thing is he told me like, I'm gonna get it done quick. Like he told me that before, and which I respect. Like you don't want to sit in there for a long time with a guy like Owen Chummy. He will figure you out and he will pick you apart, right? So the smart move is to do that, but I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card, bro, at all. The way it went out, you did? Yeah. Wow, I want to hear this. Let's go.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this: why would you not expect it to go that way?
I didn't expect it to go that quickly. I expected. Well, Owen's tough, right? We seen him go at it with Eric Perez. We seen him go at it with a lot of guys. He sent him bang. The 3 or 4 Frenchmen that he fought before, they weren't slouches, right? There was some tough guys that he went up against before he got the belt. So, and also Arturo, another tough guy, right? You sat there, watched him go up with the last guy, who's a freaking tank. I forget his name, Safar Akhmadov. It's a freaking tank, right? So both tough guys. We've never really seen either one of them get dropped like that. So I'm not thinking it's going to end that quickly. So that was my sentiment, right? I knew that somebody had to win this karate combat. It's no draws, right? Somebody's going to win. I didn't think it would be in that dominant fashion on either side. I thought it might be a close split decision.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna give it to you from this, and this is the stuff that most people won't pay attention to. I think a lot of people love that fight. I was one of them. I was calling for the fight. I'm like, this is great. Listen, if TWV's not here, that's the fight to make. Sick fight. Love both of those guys. I have a great relationship with both of them. Putting all that aside, and we just look at strategy, right? Who has the bigger skill set? Who has more ways to win? Vergara, right? It's pretty clear to see that. It comes from an MMA background. He has tons of training partners at a very high level, where Owen doesn't have that. As a matter of fact, where did Owen go to train? Twice leading up to this fight. To where he's training. Now, listen, I don't care from the Gen Pop, who, like the layperson who looks at karate combat and they only see Awesome as like the figurehead who like gets kind of wild and crazy and is outlandish. He is a damn good coach. I don't care what you say about the guy, whether you like him, hate him, it doesn't matter. He is a very good coach, and he knows his stuff. The other thing that's all in Goat Shed, there are cameras everywhere.
Yep.
So you don't think all of those training sessions were filmed?
Yeah.
You don't think so now you're taking the number one contender, you are putting him in a scenario where, yeah, you're going to coach him. Is Owen going to get better? For sure. But I guarantee they knew every single weakness, and he attacked that weakness immediately. Yeah. Where was Owen never really challenged in either of his fights? In the clinch.
In the clinch.
Boom.
Never.
30 seconds.
It was always banging.
And he had no proper defense in the clinch. His hands were down, protected from knees. He did everything wrong in the clinch. I love Owen, and he's going to get better from this. I don't know why Jesus is in the Goat Shed training after he just saw what happened. Like, it's just, guys, like, there's so many other options. Why would you train with the guy you're getting ready to fight?
Yeah,
it makes no sense to me.
It was American top team down there. You got quite a few spots you can go to. I mean, it's definitely enough gyms in South Florida. It's not like one of the spots where it's like, it's like a gym here or there, or like a Denver or Boston. No, South Florida is like Vegas and Cali. Like it's hella gyms. It's a lot of gyms.
And don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that people should not go train there. I think you should go train there. I think that they have a great coaching staff. Their record speaks for itself. Their talent speaks for itself. Those guys are very, very good. But if I got to fight one of them, I ain't training there. Like, what are you doing?
I know, you know and it was. I thought that same thing when they announced it. I'm like, well, fuck, they trained with each other. It's like they know each other. Like, they're basically teammates. Because, like, I mean, Owen is like an extended, like, because they have extended like athletes that they have, right? Jay Duran's one of them. Jay Duran is a Goat Shed athlete, but she just doesn't strictly train at Goat Shed. She comes over when she has fights. When she's in America, she comes like a week or two early, right? Sure. So they have these extended fighters. So technically they were teammates, but yeah, that's tough, like fighting your teammate. And it gets even tougher. We were just talking about this the other week. The possibility of Loxby might have to fight Arturo. They're in the same weight class, and Loxby's rising. So what do we do there, right? Like, it's going to come to a point where it's like, well, they have to fight each other. And I asked him too, literally after Arturo fight, I'm like, bro, like, what happens when you guys get to a point where y'all have nobody else to fight but each other? And he was like, we might just have to fight each other. So, I mean, I guess, and then it's such a stacked weight class. It's crazy. It's insane. That
you would hope there's opportunities for them to both continue to grow. Like, you look at the Marab and Aljo situation. That's a very simple way to put it, right? Those guys really didn't want to fight. Hopefully, if you have to, it's a business decision at that point, and everybody wins. As long as you guys aren't incapacitating each other and like ruining each other's careers. But I think there's enough talent in that division where Loxby still has a lot of room to grow, and Arturo's there. So, how long can Arturo continue to do what he's doing and take out all the top talent while Loxby's rising? And then maybe there is no more for Arturo to do, and he moves down or moves up and takes on super fights. Like, he's that good. So that might open up some room for Loxby to then take over, and then you can have this kind of back and forth, just like you see what Aljo and Marab did. The benefit is they're both very, very young in the sport. Maybe Arturo continues to sharpen his tools here as the Karate Combat champ. When Loxby's ready to take that load, maybe you see Arturo Vergara in the UFC. There's a lot of opportunities that might pop off with these guys, and there's no doubt they're talented and able to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Arturo. I think Arturo is going to be a Karate Combat for life.
Oh yeah.
I think he only went to MMA just because for Pan American athletes, you're one of the lucky ones that made it to the big leagues of kickboxing.
Sure.
I think if Arturo had a pathway to glory, he would have went to glory.
Yeah. Well. So I have a really cool relationship with Arturo way back. So I don't know how many of you guys know this, but before, and I can show you the receipts too, but before, that's why we were really tight. If you saw me and Arturo hanging out together a lot in Austin, my retirement fight, it was a really cool moment for us because before COVID, Arturo had reached out to me because I was still living in New York at the time, I believe. And he was trying to get a visa to come over and compete here and get fights in the US so that he can establish himself and become a citizen and then become a pro fighter and go that journey here. So I had set him up with actually Tom Sconzo, who at the time was one of the head reps in New York for the ISKA, trying to get him, utilizing Tom Sconzo and the ISKA to get an athlete visa, a sport visa, so he can come to the US. He was going to live and train with New York. We were going to try and sync up and do some training together. And then COVID hit. So COVID kind of put a damper on everything. Throughout that process, he was able to move to Miami, and then it just kind of spiraled, and we met up back at Karate Combat. So It was just a really cool opportunity for us to then link back up and be like, dude, this is so cool for you. So I've always been a huge fan and supporter of that guy because he literally brought himself here, self-made from nothing, to where he is now as a Karate Combat champ and being successful is really cool. And he's a freaking great dude. He's a really nice guy. I love Arturo. I got a lot of love for him. So I think he's going to be successful with whatever he does because he's got that mentality, he's got that dog in him, and he's just a good dude. So as long as he stays that way, I think he's going to be very successful.
Yeah.
If you mind, King Apollo, I just have one quick follow-up to some of the things that Ross has been talking about. So you talked about how it's a different game, and you wonder if when you were a kickboxer, if you would have still went for Karate Combat. There's not many options for top-level kickboxers within Pan America. If you're one of the ones that get to one or glory, you're one of the lucky ones. So Karate Combat is still one of the biggest options for striking focused sports in Pan America. So do you think this is still a good option for pure kickboxers, or would you say that it's not really the skill set that you would want them to try maybe an MMA fight first to see if they would like that type of fight? Yeah,
well, that's what it comes down to. As a pure kickboxer, there's still so many differences. Even you're seeing some of the Muay Thai professionals have good success because of the clinch and the elbows. But let's see what happens when those guys get taken down. Some of those pure kickboxers are not going to fare well. So it is a different sport. And if you try and ignore it, you're a fool. I mean, you look at, from a striking perspective, take my fight with Sam Alvey, for example. I think from a pure striking standpoint, if that was a kickboxing fight, I would imagine that most people would probably lean towards me. I think that's why most people were leaning towards me in that fight. Regardless of our size advantage or the size disadvantage I was in. But, once he grabbed a hold of me, I went back and I said to my corner, I was like, guys, we're going to be here all night. It makes such a big difference. So, to have a pure kickboxer who's never done any type of grappling, wrestling, who doesn't know how to get up, and then you throw a pit wall in there that makes it so much difficult, it is a different sport. So I would not recommend a pure kickboxer just say, I'm just going to try my luck and see what happens, because even a lower level grappler will beat you up in Karate Combat.
Yeah.
So for a pure sport karate guy that wants to go to Karate Combat, you're their coach. They come to you. They want you to get you to Karate Combat. What's the pathway?
The pathway is not the big turbo.
You gotta stop karate. Yeah. Stop doing sport karate and sign up to an MMA gym.
Yeah, I think
If you're young and that's the pathway that you want, like karate combat excites you, it's not the UFC, it's different. Maybe you don't want to do jiu-jitsu. That's really the only differing factor right now is like, do you want to do submission grappling or do you not want to do submission grappling? That's really the only differentiating the different factor right now. And then cage versus pit. So if the pit excites you and that style of that kind of like underground fighting and the involvement of crypto and all that stuff really excites you and it's new and fresh and you want to jump into karate combat, do it. But you better sign up to an MMA gym and stop doing sport karate immediately. Like it's just the skill set has transitioned where maybe you keep some of those elements where you have a little bit of a different flavor, kind of like myself, like a Raymond, like a Michael Page, where you have that kind of different look that can save you in some instances. But when it comes down to the meat and potatoes of the skill set, there are certain things that you have to be able to do. You have to be able to get up. And if you're not wrestling and not doing jiu-jitsu, you can't win in karate combat long term.
Yeah. 100%.
So it's unlikely we'll see like a Bailey Murphy just because there's so much money that he's making within.
Maybe. I mean, Bailey's a unique character because Bailey has been training at Fusion. You know, when he's home, the guy's never home because he's traveling the world making thousands of dollars doing seminars. You know, Bailey is the type of guy where he's young enough. I mean, I believe he's in his mid-20s now. Do you know how old Bailey is?
Mid-20s. He just graduated 2 years ago.
So he's getting to that point now where if he wants to start transitioning, I just saw Bailey a couple weeks ago in Toronto. We didn't really talk about this much, but you know, it's kind of like he's making a ton of money, and he's smart too. He's putting a lot of it away, but that guy's all over the world teaching seminars. And in order to maintain that, he's got to stay active in the sport karate realm. So, you know, what's the trade-off? You know, he's saving his brain. He doesn't have to take that type of punishment. He's making awesome money. He's traveling the world. He's getting these amazing experiences. But if he wants to do it, he's going to have to hang all that up. And we had that conversation a while ago of like, listen, man, this is not what you think it is. It is way more intense. Just because you're the man over here does not mean it's going to be immediate over here. You know, look at, you know, perfect example. Again, another guy that I freaking love to death, is incredibly talented. Look at Elijah Everell. Elijah should have cleaned that kid's clock, and he was able to take him down and put pressure on him, put him against the pit, and it made the fight very, very difficult. And now what do you see Elijah doing? He is full-time at, is it Renegade? He's like full-time at Renegade with, you know, the same coaches that Leon has. So that dude's going to be special, whether it's karate combat, UFC, whatever, but that's the avenue. You have to go that way. If you don't, you're going to be left behind, and you'll never be successful long-term.
Yeah. This is the beginning of this is the UFC 1 kind of situation where you got to learn jiu-jitsu or you're going to get out of here. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, as much as some people don't like the sport growing, the sport's going to grow. At the end of the day, it has to grow, and for it to grow, it has to evolve. And for it to evolve, things have to change. So the people who are scared of change are going to be the ones that are going to be a little standoffish about it. But at the end of the day, it's got to grow. And it's grown substantially this year. Like the numbers are there to prove it just in the app alone. And the app doesn't even really show you how much people are actually watching. That's just showing you how many people are truly invested, right? Yeah. And that's doubling over a lot of the cards, right? You have some cards where it goes up just a little bit, but for the most part, they're doubling that. So the change is working, right? And it's just like with the old fighters bringing in new fighters, it's going to be old fans that leave and bring in new fans. It sucks, you know, and we don't want nobody to go anywhere. But if it's not what you enjoy anymore, then, you know, you can go find something that's more enjoyable.
It's the name of the game. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, you can stick around. That's where we have many choices. That's where there's a lot of things on TV. You know why? So you could choose what you want to watch, man.
Exactly. Flavor of the week. That's it.
Exactly. Mal, you had something you wanted to ask for Ross?
Yeah, and actually, just to cover, to touch back on that point, if you could find it, I remember there was an interview that Wonder Boy gave about his fight against Matt Brown. He said, "I'm so thankful for this fight against Matt Brown because it made me study jiu-jitsu, made me figure out at least how to get up if I get taken down." And when at that time, Wonder Boy was brand new to the UFC, nobody had seen kicks like that before, and it was different. But he realized he had to evolve. And from getting a chance to go down to their gym is dedicated to covering all of those skill sets. So if that's the path you choose to take, if you want to only stay on your feet, you got that path. You want to do MMA, you got that path. If you just want to come in, learn to kick and punch and do karate, you have that path. But
Yeah.
the thing is, the days of saying that my style defeats anything else, that is so far gone. You have to evolve or you die. But that is a good transition also to Stephen Thompson, who is a brand ambassador. And Ross, I wanted to ask you, if Karate Combat reached out to you and asked you to become a brand ambassador or sensei, would you be open to it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, I think a lot of my popularity skyrocketed because of Karate Combat. I mean, there's no shame in that. The sport is very different, but I think just with my IQ and kind of the way I study the sport and the way I like to watch and still train, you know, I'm still training. I'm still in shape. I'm still doing different things. So, you know, I would love to be a brand ambassador. And if there's things that I can do to help and continue to push the next generation in the right direction, I'd love to do that. You know, it's something I'm still passionate about. I love those guys, man. Boss, I call him Uncle Boss. That's my guy. Josh Palmer, I still have a very good relationship with. So I'm still in touch with a couple of the fighters that are on the roster. You know, I'm actually, believe it or not, pretty good friends with Igor now. So, you know, we talk quite a bit. You know, speaking about Igor, that was another matchup that, although he did very well, he did much better than expected. That matchup should have never happened. But again, I digress. So it's like,
if Igor fights for the title again, imagine you having a Rocky and Apollo movie.
Say that again.
Yeah, you help him.
Imagine Igor fights for the title again, and he comes out to Turbo Kickboxing Academy for a Rocky Apollo.
We've talked about training together, so you know, hopefully we can make that happen.
It's gonna happen.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I like that kid. I actually really like that kid. He's got a great family, great support system. Really cool. You know, his coach is very, very good, very talented. The guy works crazy hard. You know, there's videos on his Instagram right now. He's in a cast pushing a sled, like with his shoulder, doing squat jumps. Like that kid's a beast. He's got the goods. If he wants to continue to grow in Karate Combat, I think he will. It's just a matter. He needs time, man. He needs time. He's only had like 8 professional fights, and 2 of them were against me. You know, what are you gonna do? So, you know, he's gonna keep. He'll keep growing.
Yeah,
I like these 100%. Stories that are here for you. Hear about, you know, guys reaching out and saying it because you think about it. Why do people sometimes hate athletes signing jerseys at the end of a professional game? They're like, why are they doing that? These guys are supposed to hate each other. Like, well, they went to college together. They came up in the same system. And as much as we like fandom and love to put one side against the other, there's a system there that says, you know what? Hey, I'm humbling myself. I really need work on this. Do you mind if you help me? And to hear those stories and to hear first someone says, humbly, please help me. I need to get better at this. I'm going to either try and fail, or I can humble myself and learn the game better. And I think it's those stories that you hear about, little backstory about that, little inside baseball, but that's really cool. I wish him the best success. And I look forward to Igor experiencing some of that wonderful weather up in Rhode Island.
I told him, I said, bro, you need to come in the summertime because you ain't gonna like it here right now. So,
I was literally born, I want to say Pawtucket County. I don't know. I didn't stay there long, but I was born in Rhode Island in the middle of a blizzard because we got stuck there. So trust me, I know I'm a blizzard baby from Rhode Island, basically. Wow. So I understand. Yeah, it's tough up there. But yo, the fact that you're still so heavy into like helping Karate Combat grow and so eager to like help others as well it's a beautiful thing to see you like immediately into retirement doing that. And like you kind of have it already figured out. Like I feel like some people go into retirement and they're like trying to figure out, what am I going to do now? Like, what is this? You kind of already had things going, and then you jumped into new endeavors as well to kind of fill that void of like fighting and having all of that training and stuff like that. So it's really dope to see. I'm excited to see what you got coming. I'm definitely have to come up. I haven't been to Rhode Island in a long time, since I was like probably like 7. So I think, yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, I know. I keep moving farther down south for a reason, bro. I lived upstate New York. I lived in Brooklyn. I lived in Virginia. I keep going farther down south because it gets warmer. I'm done. I wear New York hats to think about the cold, but I don't want to be there at all.
Okay. Hey, just to real quick, just so I can throw this in. Another way. I mean, I know you were congratulating me for staying still in touch with like the Karate Combat scene, and to kind of double back and bring this all full circle onto how I talked about keeping my circle tight. For the people who've watched my YouTube channel so far with myself and Maddie, some people might have noticed that the episodes are being sponsored and powered by Squid Grow. So my
Shout
man
out my boy
Shiptoshi.
Shitoshi. That's my
Toshi.
boy.
So we've actually kept in touch quite a bit since my last fight. Unfortunately, he wanted to really be behind me throughout my entire fight career, but that was my fight career. So
Yeah.
but we kept in touch, man. He's just a hell of a guy and
Yeah,
has
great
so many
guy.
great projects, and he's doing a lot of cool things with the gym. So we're working together on a couple different things. So I definitely want to continue to kind of pay homage to him and do some things because he helped in a lot of ways. So I'm going to keep kind of pushing that. We're going to work together on a lot of things. So you may see some projects between us as well.
Yeah, shout out Shib. Shib's doing a lot. Shib, Huntsman, all of those guys over there. Yeah, it's super dope guys, super genuine. He was working with you and Ellie, which is one of my friends, during when you guys both fought. Unfortunately, she got injured, but was very helpful with getting her stuff done. Also, you were too as well. She's very hard-headed, as we both know. She doesn't listen to anybody. You found out
she took most of my advice.
We love Ellie, but Ellie's
doing well
the
now.
reason.
I'm happy for her.
The reason she's such a good fighter is the same reason of why you don't want to give her directions, right? Is because she's so hell strong on doing what she wants and getting stuff done. It sometimes is like, I just want to, and we're like, Ellie, sit your ass down. Sit down. Like I was in Vegas right around the time when she got the surgery, right when she had everything, when you were helping her, I was like, sit down, girl, sit down, just sit down. But she's just so used to doing everything and being this individualist and being able to do all her stuff. So, but it's super dope because Shib, like, not to change it too much, Shib has really took a liking to like both of y'all, really helping y'all and seeing you guys be successful as well with growing with his product and the things that they're doing over there. Because they got some good stuff. I've been following them for a while. I'm heavy in the crypto side as well of things. So
they just released Silent Swap too, right?
Yeah, Silent Swap, which was huge. That was huge. They've been working on that for a while. I think they got the Squid Girl coin as well. So they've been doing some big things, man. Shout out Shib. I haven't seen him in a while. I'm definitely know he's gonna be popping out now more conventions because they got the stuff going. But that's gonna be super dope. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm super happy to see that. I don't like it when like athletes kind of exit and then they exit and then you like never see them again, right? And it's like, especially when somebody has given you a platform to grow and you've grown with them and they've helped you get to a point where you could be successful and just say, I'm out, right? And, it's cool to see them kind of give back. Also, I want to say thank you in person, like, or kind of in person to you, because like when I say Ross watches everything and this man is such a genuine and humble individual, the first time I ever did anything on Karate Combat, I went back to my hotel room and was looking through my DMs and I seen a DM from Ross and basically was telling me of how well of a job that I did on the broadcast, which fucked me up literally. Like that's shit happens to me so fast. I don't have time to process things a lot of times. And sometimes something hits you so hard that like you process everything that's happening. And that was like, it happened all so fast. They're like, do you want to be on a broadcast? I was like, yeah. It was like, do you want to do this? I was like, yeah. There's like, so I just kept saying, yeah. And I never was processing anything that was going on. And that message that you sent me was just like, the tidal wave hit me and I was like, holy shit, like you just
like I just did all this. Oh my God.
Yeah. And but it was,
you destroyed it, man. It was really, really good. Hey man, I call a spade a spade. I'll tell it like it is, man. If you ever do something messed up, I'll tell you that too.
Please.
But, I don't think that'll happen. I think friends keep their friends in check in the positive and the negative. So bro, you killed it, man. I love seeing that. And it's cool when you get people who are fans and then, kind of find their way to that next level. And you continue to see people kind of evolve and take on those new roles, and you dominated that. I wish they would use you more, honestly.
Well, I mean, I'm working my way in there. I always tell them, like, I'm probably one of the easiest people to work with because I'm not really scared of shit. So I'm just like, just point. I tell them all the time, like Todd and them, I'm like, bro, just point and tell me what you want me to do. A lot of times my segments get given to me 60 seconds before they happen. Like I literally got the thing for the main event for the last one. Hey, Apollo, 120 seconds. You, president, talk about the main event. I'm like, okay. I had like no idea this was happening, right? So a lot of times I'm just like, just point. And to be honest, that's kind of like how I've always been with any job or anything I've ever done. It's just like we're New York, right? You're coming to a place where everybody's hustling. So if you don't know how to hustle, if you don't know how to get stuff done quickly, if you don't know how to climb the ranks, you get lost. You get lost in the sauce, right? And it's a big saying because that's what happens, right? You get lost in the mix of everything going. So I just always just try to like be like the most easiest person to work with, Somebody who never really says no. I'm not really afraid of nothing. And it was like, if I don't do a bad job, I do a bad job. I pay attention to it. I look at it like fighting, right? Like you said, my combat, if I had in combat sports, I did karate when I was younger, and then I competed in boxing, right? So I look at it like fights, right? If I lose, I learn something. Go in, I look at it, I reflect, see what I did wrong, and then I'll try not to do that ever again, right?
We always say fail forward.
There you go. There you go. Don't fail backwards. Don't dwell on it too much. But yeah, I thank you a lot for that. You know what I mean? It means a lot. And I just want to let you know that, like, from my actual voice instead of messages.
Thank you, man.
So you can
I appreciate
actually
it.
know that I really, really appreciate that. It meant a lot because, like, dude, like, you're a world champ. It's kind of becoming a norm to me because I'm around them a lot because I work with UFC and karate combat, but still, I'm still that kid who used to watch Bruce Lee and used to watch like Chuck Liddell and Frank Mir and Lyoto Machida. Like, I'm still that kid, right? So it's like being around you guys sometimes it's like, wow, like this, it's super dope for me, man. And it keeps me humble as well. Because if you guys can be this humble, it really helps me, like, as I'm growing through this, is like, dude, the humility, the level of humility that all of you guys have is just absolutely insane. Like Boss, you're talking about Boss. Like, Boss is one of the most humble people you'll ever meet in your life, bro. Like, one of the sweetest guys. You would never think the guy who was like literally smacking people with their on the side of their head like this, with this evil look on his face, was the nicest guy in the world. But he's the nicest guy. He doesn't go out. Like, every time a karate comment, I'm telling you, it's two people who always go back to their room: Dean Thomas, Boss Ruin. They don't go out. Like, these guys are some of the most humble, some of the most chill, some of the most sweet guys you'll ever meet. But straight savages if you piss them off.
Hey, man, you've earned everything that you've talked about. You know, you've earned. So, congrats to you on just continuing to just push that envelope. So I'm excited to see where you go, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, well, hopefully I go far, man. I put it as karate combat janitor. That's my title. So I set the bar low for myself. So if I fuck up, it's all cool. Worker. Yeah. Because I'm the master of, because I'm trying to get them to do it. Maybe I'll get it on the next one. I want them to do my lower third to say master of the custodial arts. And if you are Dave Chappelle, have big fan, you understand where I'm going with this one.
Do you yeah, for sure. Do you watch football at all?
Oh yeah, 100%. Giants fan, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's sad, man. They should let Saquon run the rock, man. Let him get that title. But you're Travis Hunter. You do it all, man. You play offense, defense. You got the Heisman this year. So
there we go. I appreciate it.
I don't see why not.
I appreciate it, man, for real. But we also appreciate you for your time. Like I said, you're a super busy man. You gave us more than an hour. We definitely appreciate it. Yeah, man. And we would love to have you on again, especially like once you get things kicking off with the kickboxing. Oh, one more question before we let you go. Are you going to be doing any type of virtual classes? I don't think we asked you about any of that. Are you doing it for like people who will want to work with you, but maybe can't make it to Rhode Island?
Yeah, I think at some point that is likely to open up, especially with the way the world is going now. So I think having virtual classes might be something that we build on in the future. Right off the bat, I really just want to take care of home and, build the community and make sure that I can do things. It's one thing when you I don't want to open up and say, yes, I'm going to do all these things. And then, right now it's just myself and Maddie, and I have a jiu-jitsu instructor that's going to be jumping on probably shortly after we open. So we'll be running some jiu-jitsu classes as well with my boy Ryan Chin. But, I don't want to say I'm doing all these things and then I can't deliver, right? So I would rather have these couple things that I know I'm going to crush and do really, really well. And then as we build, I'll expand to some different things. We'll have little kids classes where right now I think our starting point is probably going to be around that like 7-year-old. If you've got like a really good 6-year-old, then we'll take that on. But I don't want to start with like 3 and 4-year-olds. And I'm like, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to cancel stuff. So I'm going to build my core of what I know I'm really good at, what I have great experience in, and what I'm passionate about. And then we will just build and build and build until it's ready to, there's an Anytime Fitness next door. As soon as their lease is up, I'm knocking that down. We're expanding.
There you go. So, kicking through the wall.
Yeah, man, whether they like it or not. So I'm just going to take over this whole area, and I just can't wait.
I love to see it, man. Well, listen, New England better watch out because my man Turbo Ross Levine is about to take it over. We like to allow the athlete or whoever we have on get the end, basically the end part of their interview to say whatever you want. Is you got a hot take, you want to promote your kickboxing gym some more, whatever you want to do, this end up time is for you. We appreciate your time, and we're going to let you close it out on your portion of the interview.
Appreciate you, man. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. Matt, great to see you. Mal, we got to get together, man. I missed you when I was down in Virginia, so we got to get together. Definitely come up once the gym is set up. I'd love to have you up here. Apollo, same for you, man. I appreciate the Hanukkah question, my man. So thank you for that. But otherwise, man, I love the support I'm still getting from the community. So it means a lot to me to still be relevant, even though I'm not competing. So thank you to the community for still following my journey and all the different things I do, asking questions. But, all the other things that I'm still doing, I'm still trying to do at a super high level. So Turbo Sports International, myself, Zach Ben-Bushta, my coach, Brad West, rehab, strength and conditioning, nutrition, performance training. We still got you covered on that. If you have questions, shoot me a DM. Turbo Kickboxing Academy, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, subscribe, and then keep following all you beautiful gentlemen. And anytime you guys want me on this pod, if you just want to talk some smack about some of the latest fights in any fight world, man, I'm open to that. I love this stuff.
Let's do it, man. Well, listen, the invitation is always open. Our door is always open for you. And we appreciate your time once again, man. Enjoy your day.
Sir,
to your beautiful family. Take care. And Happy New Year, too. I didn't get to say that.
Yes, sir. Same to you guys. Appreciate y'all.
All right, brother. See you later, Turbo.
Hey, man. Later, guys.
All right, man. That is my man, Turbo. That was a great one. Oh, you love it. Hold on. Let me see. There we go. Let's do that. I guess that's cool.
This man right there.
Oh, just a stud, bro.
Let me just,
you gotta love
say
it.
one thing. I've known this brother since he was, he says since he was 8, but I'll say 18 when we were teammates together. He is super disciplined. He is super genuine. That what you just saw was not just for any podcast or any interview. Everything he says, he means. And if you think he is from those who built him, solid father, solid brother, solid mother. He mentioned Johnny Tension. All this that you see who he is now is because of what those people built.
Yeah,
so.
Very strong upbringing. Both of his parents very well educated, knowing what they're doing, and their tension along is crazy. But just an American badass, bro. Like the true American role model badass, right? Like, like the badass that you're like, nah, I want my kid to be like him. He's smart. The man is smart. He's got degrees all over. He could beat your ass too. Like he said, I knock people out. He said that that was one of the best ones I heard. I think he might have one of the best one-liners on the Warriors Voice. With that one, said I knock people out. But yeah, man, amazing dude, bro. I love to see it, and definitely have to have him back on again, because I think this year is going to show us a lot of the, like we said, the evolution of karate combat. And I kind of want to get him to come back in once we start, because like you said, either they're trying to weed the older guys out, right, or it could be too what Prez was saying, and I lost it. I meant to ask that too. I didn't write it down, because some of the older guys didn't want to fight. Remember, like we were going to that point where it's like some of these guys don't want to fight, and it was to the point where it's like they don't want to fight, or now are they getting to the point now where they're just like, well, look, now you're gonna have to take whatever, right? Because you didn't want to fight before. Like we could be at some of that with some of them too as well. I don't know. We would need more context on that, and maybe I'll try to do some more digging, ask some questions to see if I can find out what's going on. But it's interesting, man. He made some really great points around the board on like a few different things too, man. So we don't have any. Well, actually, no, it's nothing going on, right? It's no. You have any picks?
January 11th. I mean, I have a couple I'm working on if you want them, but they're going to be the same picks as next week anyways.
Okay, so let's just wait. Yeah, let's just wait. We'll wait till next week. Unfortunately, we're still on a drought right now, guys. One more week. One more week. I'm dying. I don't even know what to do with myself on Saturdays, bro. I'm sitting here like, what am I supposed to do? I'm sitting here, I'm just standing here like, what the fuck, man? It's like that meme with Mel Gibson where he's just like looking around and shit with his jacket over his arm from Pulp Fiction. He's like, what the fuck? I said Mel Gibson, John Travolta. What the fuck? I just mixed Jesus. I just mixed Jesus with Travolta. It's crazy. All right. Well, all right.
Next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Next week we'll have bets. I think that's it for this week. Very lengthy episode too. Shout out Ross, man. 1 hour. Awesome. Those are great. We're gonna get a lot of good clips out of that one. Matt, you got anything before we go? Good.
No, I think it was a great
Yeah,
episode. Though.
amazing episode. Mal, appreciate you stopping by as usual.
That's 20. What are we on now? 19? 18?
Huh?
We're on 18, right?
We're on 18. Yeah, we'll be 19. So by the time, right before, that's good. 20 happens the week before the fight. We got to do something big, guys.
Special.
All right, we'll start planning. We got to get in the group chat, do something special. Hey, man, if you didn't claim your code already, man, claim your code. Shout out our sponsors. Also, Brave Browser, one of our sponsors. If you are somebody who is very high on privacy, your security, browsing the web, watching YouTube videos without ads, oh my gosh, it's such a thing you can do without YouTube Premium if you just download the Brave Browser. It's amazing. They're also a title sponsor of Karate Combat, which means it's all in the family, baby. We're all here. So shout out Brave Browser to help us out a lot, helping us grow a lot. We've actually almost had like 400 followers, I want to say. I don't have the official live count. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. But I've been growing substantially. Shout out them for putting out the push notifications to people to come. And if you hear from those, man, type in Turbo 25. Shout out my boy Ross Levine, and type in Turbo 25 in the redeem section of the Karate Combat app to get a redemption. Sometimes they vary from sometimes it's 1,000 karate tokens, sometimes it's 1,500. I want to say the one before Christmas was like 5,000 karate tokens. So shout out to people who claim those. But I mean, if you've been here like the last 3 or 4 months, you probably got at least 20 to 30K karate just from redeeming every week. So shout out Karate Combat for doing that for us. Shout out Brave for putting out the push notifications for us. And yeah, shout out my codes and all of the beautiful viewers who watch every week. Shout out our repeat watchers, the guys who come back every week and watch concurrently. We love you guys. I'm getting the official count here, and then I'm closing this out. The official count is 376. So hey, look, we're 3 3/4 to 400, I guess. Yeah. Something like that. I'm not smart. That's why I do this. Listen. All right. That's episode 18, the Warriors Voice podcast. Shout out my co-host, Mallory, my man, MMA Pickers, Mac Tyson, the Karate Encyclopedia. I am King Apollo. That is the end of this episode. We're going to get out of here. I got to pee. I love y'all. Deuces. We gone.
Deuces.